Well, good morning, Atlanta Braves fans. Good morning, Falcon fans. Good morning, Atlanta Hawks fans. And do not adjust your computer screen. That's right. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. John from Out of Your Falcon Mind, joining us this morning to talk Braves. John, how you doing this morning?
Man, I'm great. This is the earliest I've ever recorded in my life, so I've got plenty of coffee. I'm good. I'm awake. I'm here. I appreciate you inviting me on, man. It's great.
Hey, man, I appreciate you joining me. It is great. It is great having you, man. So I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, now that you've kind of taken a step back from podcasting, how do you feel? Like, do you feel, I mean, do you miss it at all? Is there like, is there like this call to be like, I should get back into it? Or how do you
Yeah,
feeling right now?
yeah. No, we definitely miss it. It was it's the first couple of Wednesdays and nights were like, damn, what do we? Like nothing, guy. What do we do? Like, it was like, I mean, I say that kind of jokingly because I mean we've got it's nonstop around the house now, but no, it's yeah, we definitely miss it. But it's been a good little break. Mike's been traveling a lot for work, and he's doing good. He's doing really good.
That's good.
And so yeah, we're still working on a little side project that we've got to get going, but we're looking probably early spring to get that new channel going.
Okay.
And like we always left it open, as far as the Falcons, like we would possibly be able to come back next season, if everything works out perfectly for us.
Right.
So that's the hope at least. But and I do, like I told you before the show, if y'all see me or if the camera goes down, anything happens, I've got a 1-year-old pup and a 3-month-old pup that's in my room with me right now until my wife gets back from dropping Liam off at school.
Oh,
So
wow.
right now they're doing really good. I'm proud of them. I don't know what's happening, but it's possible it could go sideways at any moment. So.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, hey, we certainly understand, and congratulations on your new additions to the clan, to the home. So that's
Yeah,
good.
man. Yeah. They're
What
nuts.
are they? What species of
So
canine are
they're called Beaucerons, and
they?
if
Beaucerons.
yeah, so if anybody's ever seen the show, like Kane has popped up on the show a few times, but they're a herding dog. It's pretty rare in the United. There's some in the United States, not a ton of them, but they're actually cousins. We got them from the same breeder, and so yeah, they're cousins, and they're crazy, but they're awesome dogs.
All right. So let me see here. Trying to see if I can find a picture of these. Okay, so they're not small animals either. I don't think.
No,
They're not. Okay.
Yeah, I mean the Pax is, like I said, 3 months. He's about 40 pounds, and
Okay. Yeah.
Kane's probably 75, probably if I had to guess.
They look like shepherd dog. They look like shepherds.
Yeah,
They resemble shepherds a little bit.
everybody thinks that they're like a Shepherd Doberman mix type of thing, and that's
Gotcha.
what they
Okay.
always think.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Well, hey, man, again, congratulations. And hopefully the little fellas can be snug as a bug in a rug and, just sit there for as long as we need them. Yeah, right. But okay, man, let's get into these Braves, right? So you are a longtime Atlanta Braves fan, as am I. So we have definitely seen our share of success and or failure with our beloved Atlanta Braves. Pitchers and catchers are reporting. Now, your son is a pitcher, is he not?
He is. Yep.
And he just made his high school team, did he not?
Sure did, man. Yeah, freshman, and he was excited, man. It was a week of tryouts, and he tried out. He was worried because he wanted to just pitch, right? That's all he wanted to do. That's what he's wanted to do forever. But he didn't want to, possibly pigeonhole himself. So like he asked the head coach before tryouts, just like, should I try out for everything, or should I, just pitch? Like, this is what I want to do, but like I don't want to like hurt myself if I. And he was like, dude, he's like, just go ahead and do everything. He's like, maybe you have a bad day on the mound, but you go get 2 hits, and then you make it the team that way. It's like he's like, don't cut one section off. He hasn't hit in like 7 months. So he was
Thanks,
he was
coach.
like, yeah, he was like, all right, well, cool, I'll just do everything. So like the first day was just defense only, which was fine. He was at third, and he's a good defensive third baseman, so he did fine there. And then the second day was a scrimmage, and he threw 5 batters, struck out 3, had a ground out, pop out. So that was great. That was like what he needed to do. And then he all hitting the next day. He did okay actually. He got I think he actually got 2 hits, and then out of like maybe 6 or 7 at bats. It wasn't great, but it's fine. That's not what he was trying to do anyway. But and then they scrimmaged again. They wanted to see him throw again on the last day. And he had 2 strikeouts and 3 ground outs. So they did what he was supposed to do, and so he made it. And the practice started the day after tryouts, and then it's literally Monday through Saturday. It's practice every day.
Wow.
So now, granted, he doesn't throw every day, but we'll get into some of that stuff. But I mean, he's there every day. So.
Wow. Well, first and foremost, congratulations. Now, am I to understand he's the only freshman that made the team?
The only freshman PO, on JV,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's 3 other sophomore, I think 3 other sophomore POs, and then there's varsity is all juniors and seniors except for I think 1 kid. So, yeah.
Okay. So, congratulations, man! It's great. Big things, doing big things.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. I was very proud of him. It was it's what he's been.
As you should be.
What he's been trying, shooting for, man. So
just gotta keep. So, what's he throw?
He throws a fastball, changeup, a cutter, and it's a it's a slurve, a slider, like it's weird. Like he's just it's like it's
like just, a sweeper.
Kind of, dude. There's something I don't know. Even his travel ball coach is like, I don't know what that is. Just keep throwing it. Okay. So like, because it was like, because he threw a curve initially, hurt his arm actually about this time last year, playing freaking dodgeball. Right.
Oh wow.
Just the dumbest thing in the world is have baseball players play dodgeball because they're going to want to throw as fast as they can and peg somebody in the face. Right. But he hurt it doing that. So when he came back, he was really mentally kind of like, I don't want to hurt my arm again. I don't want to do something stupid. So like the curve wasn't coming back to him. And so they were like, you know what, it's okay. Let's work with slider. Let's work with a slider. You already throw a pretty good cutter. Slider's just a little bit more to the side. You get a little bit more, just a little more similars to it. So I work on the slider. It's doing okay. He was having a hard time consistently kind of getting around the ball. And so his coach showed him a little trick with his middle finger, and that just unlocked it for some reason. And he was all of a sudden it was like, but there's sometimes it'll act like a normal curveball. There's sometimes he'll actually release it a little bit to the side and it'll slide in. It's just wild. It moves. So that's all that we really cared about. Like, it was moving and he can control it. So we're like, all right, cool, whatever. Okay. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good, man. That's good.
His best pitch is probably his changeup, though, to be honest.
You said his best pitch is probably the changeup?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, some guys named Glavin.
Decent changeup he had, yeah.
Santana for the Mets had some really good changeups.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did he play for Mets or I think he started with the Twins and the Mets.
Twins, yeah.
But yeah, very, very, very good changeup. So hey, you could make a decent living with that.
You sure could, yeah.
All right. So Braves and pitchers and catchers report to spring training today. They're going to get down there and get their work in. Hopefully, I don't know what the weather's like in Florida today, but hopefully they'll be able to get some work in. But I know that you have extensive experience in a lot of these camps. Talk to me about what the first day is like. What their goal is for the day, and just what they're trying to do.
Well, I mean, for us, we started back because it's a little different, obviously, in high school, or at least, when the fall season ended, we took about a solid month to just do nothing, like rest, relax. Like he was well, I should say he wasn't throwing. He was definitely lifting and stuff like that. His lifting schedule started up like getting stronger, and then right after Thanksgiving, started kind of just tossing, and just kind of. Like some programs, if you're like our program, 9th inning, like has a really good like on ramp program, so you can actually, it's like 6-7 weeks long. You can get there, and it's just you're progressively just you're doing a lot of heavy ball training, you're doing medicine ball, you're doing all this stuff to try to just build up your arm to get to go longer before the season starts. And that's that's so important, man, because that's where so many. Liam actually told me last night he saw a stat that there was more TJ surgeries in 2023 than there was in the entire decade of the 90s.
Damn.
Isn't that insane? I was like,
But I believe it because the focus is velocity.
yeah, absolutely.
The focus is, I mean, look at you 20 years ago, you or 25, you could, if you threw 91, 92, you're in, no problem.
Yeah,
Now, that's, if you're throwing 91, 92, you better be rocking a curveball that is just lights out.
Yeah,
Or
you better
your
be mad.
changeup better be lights out. Or your cutter better get everybody out. They can know it's coming, but they still can't. Like, there
Yep.
has to be something demonstrative if you're not throwing 96 miles an hour. You know what I mean? That's just, but because of the emphasis on that, you see so many injuries coming off that. Now it's interesting. You said the medicine ball, right? That's the big ball that you just pick up yourself and throw, and a lot of that is in preparation. Let me ask you this question, because we've seen this come to fruition in some pitchers that I would say we've grown to love, and one of those would be Matzik, right? So if you know who Tyler Matzik is, yeah, right. If you follow the Braves, you got to know who Tyler Matzik is.
Better know.
He's basically, I'd have to call him the MVP of the 2021 post series.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't big up when he does, we never make it to the World Series. And understand, I don't know how many pitchers Tyler threw that year, but it had to probably be, I'd say, at least 30 to 40% more of what he had pitched the previous year. And I'm talking high stress, high leverage, 99, 99, 100, full on pitches for probably 2 more months, or at least a month more than he had the previous season. And he's never been the same, right? Yeah. What's going on, Berto? How you doing, man? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you this morning.
He's probably like, what the fuck is John doing on the screen right now? It's 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
He probably is. He probably is. But John, let's talk about that. So I don't want to say that it ended his career, because he did sign with the Yankees. But this is 2025, and he hasn't really been himself since 2021.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts on that.
Man, I mean, it's I mean, the velocity just fell off. He couldn't get it back to where it wanted to be. And I mean, sometimes that happens to guys. Like, it's weird when it chooses to. Like, like there's always been like this argument of like, does a person's arm have so many throws in it? You know what I mean? Like, does he, when he reaches that amount, and some guys like Charlie Morton, who's a freak of nature, who can just pitch my age damn near and just keep throwing 95 and 96, which is insane.
Yep.
And then there's guys that like Tyler, who's probably 10, 11 years younger than he is, that all of a sudden it's just falling off, and it's like, clearly there's something, whether it's an injury, whether it was the injury that, really just, he could never get back, little tweaks mechanically, like that's what, like Liam now working with, he's had really good pitching coaches, when he started pitching, and he's had really good guys with him, thankfully, and as we were going to travel ball, and when the kid pitch started, and when he started really taking to it, that's one of the things we told, like, we've been in the same organization now since he was 11, and a lot of that's because of how good they are with their pitchers. And it's like, that's one first conversation I have with coaches, like, hey, how do you handle your pitchers? What do you, how is that training done? Is there, they actually have an arm care program that they can go to, what I mean? Like, it's throughout the season where it's just nothing but just arm care. That's it. It's just like, it's to prevent injuries, rehab injury, whatever. And, and he was big on that. So that's what got us here, because we've played guys, we at 10, 11 years old. I'm not kidding, where the kid has pitched 6 innings, 100 plus pitches, and in the middle of July, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, and we played a tournament one time where we saw a kid on Friday night. He pitched 5 innings. We saw him again on Sunday, and he pitched about 5 or 6 innings on Sunday.
That's crazy.
And it's just, and a lot of pitches both times, and it is crazy. And it's like, Yeah, no wonder like people are getting hurt. Like it's like you got idiots like this coach, who's just throwing a kid out there and just like, hey man, whatever
Just so he
happens,
can
happens.
win. Just,
We're
hey.
10 years old, 10 years,
Yeah.
11 years. Like it's not that serious, man. Like,
Yeah.
and so, especially early in the season, like you want them to build it up. Like you want like Liam, their first game was supposed to be today, but obviously the rain here in Georgia and Atlanta right now, that's not happening. It's already been canceled. But the coach has already told him, hey, look, the first couple of weeks, you're not really going to go over 50 pitches. Like we're trying to see who can do what, who's going to be sore afterwards, like all these things, kind of like see who's responding, who's performing everything. So that's kind of like, and then that's thankfully same as, kind of the travel ball. Like they really want to, keep an eye on how many pitches. And two is like, you've talked about like, and I mean, I know I'm sure you've talked about it before, but a lot of the big three, like Maddox, like they always talk about like, we never get hurt because we're always throwing. And that's a big part of it too, is like kids that just go throw during practice or their games, and they go all of a sudden they go from not throwing to just maxing out those 2 times a week. That's why they get hurt too.
Yeah.
Because they're not constantly like, and now, I mean, like
Right.
just throwing like Liam does a couple of flat grounds every week, at school, and it's just throwing. It's not 100%. It's 50, 75%, working on his release, working on mechanics, stuff like that. But it's consistently keeping the blood flow into that arm. It's working that arm out, and there's so much goes into it, man. You have to make sure those guys, after every outing, he runs the next day. He goes and runs 2 or 3 miles the next day, get the blood flowing. Like it's not just, hey, go throw, wake up, I'm gonna go.
Right.
Like there's so much to it. There's ice, there's heat, there was just, if you're going to do it right, then that's the way you do it. And you still may get hurt. That's the thing of it. You still may end up getting hurt by but you can do a lot of things to hopefully prevent it. And that's what a lot of guys just don't do. And at the pro level, they're all, I mean, they have got access to the top trainers, top everything.
Right.
So like if they can't do it at that level, clearly something is just, physiologically not happening for them. You know what I mean? That can get it done. But MW, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, MW? How you doing, man? Good to see you this morning. MW says, what's good, fellas? Top of the morning. Hey, so when you talk about ice and heat, obviously after let's say you have a pitcher, he goes out and throws 7 innings, you're going to see the wrap around his arm and you're going to see the ice, and that's what you're talking about. But let's talk about the heat. When would that heat be applied? Would it be
way after that, like just like later on, you know what I mean? Like it's like they're basically trying to reduce inflammation with that ice. What they're trying to do, so like and then at the same time, heat's going to bring blood and bring like increase the blood flow to that area. So then you want that too, because you have you want to have that speeds that recovery up too. So it's a little balance that you have to do. I mean, like because Liam will come in, ices up after an outing, or when the dugout, whatever, and then later that night, you know what I mean, like before he might be playing PlayStation or something, he'll just have the heat on it, just to kind of get it going. But yeah, I mean that just having a good, he started lifting more last year because my whole background is exercise science, so like he's got a good base, at least with me, and then so, like I can get him. I got him started with bands and stuff like that, and light dumbbell work, because even kids 14, 15 years old, man, like you don't want to like get too crazy because their growth plates are still developing. Like you can really mess them up, if you try to go too heavy.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, because you referenced a coach who pitched one guy Friday and then another guy 2 days later. That is insane. And that is insane because, to your point, your body's still developing. I don't even know that you do that to a major league pitcher, unless it's like you pitch game 5, you're in the World Series, and you come back and pitch game 7. And then even with that, you're pushing it a bit, right? Because the one thing the arm needs after you're going to do that is you need rest.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And the other thing is, and you talked about this, John Smoltz, Greg Maddux, Tommy Glavine all talk about this, and that is these guys are throwing max effort every time, right? So the way it was told to me, right, back in the day, because I'm old, back when they wore the leather helmets. I'm kidding, but the way it was told to me is, if you instead of going 100% effort, if you go 90%, right, or 92. Maybe you get it there at 92 or 93, but it does what you want it to do. You can move it as opposed to max effort every time. The other thing about max effort every time is it is more wear and tear on that arm.
100%.
And that's what we're seeing with a lot of these guys who go 5 and 6 innings and go. They don't go 7, 8, 9 anymore because they're going max effort. But a lot of times they burn out. Talk to that, because I didn't know you had this background. So talk to that from a medical perspective. Give me your thoughts on just max effort every time.
Well, like you said earlier, like it's all about velo these days. Like velocity is the king.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you go on Instagram or in TikTok, you know, there's actually like Velo University. Like, I mean, like there's camps you can go to just to increase your velo, you know, because that's what's going to get you a D1 scholarship. You know, that's what's going to possibly get you drafted, you know? So like, that's why guys want to do it. You know, Liam, kind of, I guess, I don't know, luckily, I guess in a way, luckily, he never wanted to necessarily be like a max velocity guy. Like he wanted, like I told you, change up his best pitch, right?
Right.
So like he watched that documentary on Maddox and loved it, and it was like, man, that's what I want to be, you know. Like, and so he, during his tryout, he wasn't even max effort during his tryout. He's I get very lucky as fact, like, because that's why I think he's good at pitching, because it's such a mental part of the game, right? And so like you've got you can't just go up there throw. You have to have a plan. You have to be able to read swings. You have to be able to, you know, communicate with your catcher well. And so he's very aware of like, okay, I'm gonna throw my fastball and see where this guy is on it. You know, if he's late, I have no reason to speed up if he's already late on what I'm currently. And so like, he's got more in the tank if he needs to use it, but he doesn't necessarily always use, which is great, you know. I mean, like, because like I said, if he figures out, if he knows I can get you, I'm going 80%, and I can throw I'm locating all my off speed stuff,
right?
I don't need to throw 100%. You know, now if you go up there and you got a 4-hole hitter, 3 or 4-hole hitter who's hitting everything, you may want to ramp it up some for this guy,
right?
You know, and so it's like, but so. Shit, what was the original question? I forgot. I got off on the tangent.
That's okay.
It was the elbow, wasn't it?
Max effort.
Yeah, that's it.
What is that? What is the ultimate impact of that on the pitcher, on the arm, on their overall health?
Yeah, so the Tommy John thing we talked about earlier. So that's what ends up. It's like there ends up being, and this comes obviously not a doctor or a trainer, just like I said, a little bit of history in it, but it's constantly that UCL, it's just constantly being whipped, and then especially the guys that throw like a hard slider. Remember Johnny Venters, right? Threw that sinker, just a nasty, like 97-mile-an-hour sinker. Had 2.5, because I think he had like a half a TJ, like they didn't quite do a full TJ, but almost 3 Tommy John surgeries. Like that type of just constant torque on that ligament in that area is like, there's nothing you can do to prevent it. Like, you're just throwing it that damn hard. It's like that's what it is.
He threw a slider, a fastball. Like, he had 3 combinations. It just, you couldn't hit him.
Oh yeah,
because it moved so much.
Oh yeah,
it literally moved so much. But like you say, and then the way we used him in those latter years, the appearances that he made, that's another thing, right? And so let's kind of tie this back to the break. That's my concern with this rotation. It's not that we don't have the talent, because again, if you look at it, you got Sale, you got Strider, you got Ronaldo Lopez, and you got Schwelly, who, you know, talent-wise, I'll take these guys up against anybody, right? Sure. But here's my concern. Raylo started his career as a starter, but he was a reliever for 3 years prior to last year. In 2023, I think he threw like 58 innings. He had to throw 130 to 140 last year. That's more than double.
Yeah. Right? It was almost a guarantee he was going to break down at some point.
Right. So now you come forth a full year later, and he did pretty much, because we were one and done. So he pretty much had a clean offseason. But you just have to wonder, is that Bill going to come do this year? Right? Because and it's not to say you can't do it, right? There have been guys that have done it and had no issues. But again, you're talking about going from 58 innings to 130. That's more than double,
Massive
right?
difference. Yeah.
That's my concern. Chris Sale. Now, Chris doesn't. It's kind of unfair to say that he's had an injury history because a lot of his injuries have been herky jerky, little stupid incidents that
Yep.
just would not occur to anybody but Chris Sale, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So we kind of have to be fair, but I bring it up to say if one or two of those guys go down, heaven help you. Because right now, as currently constructed, I don't think you have the depth to survive that. You could. I could be 100% wrong. But I just don't feel like you have the depth, which is why trading for a Dylan Cease is very important. Because if you can get Dylan Cease, you can essentially survive an injury or two, right?
Yep.
If you got 1 through 5, Chris Sale, Spencer Strider, who should, I'm hearing that he'll be back within the first 2 weeks of the season. That probably means within the first month and a half. But I'm hearing that, like, if they really wanted to, they could start him first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, so I think what Mark Bowman said that he was on track to possibly throw a game at the end of spring training, and then so like that's phenomenal.
Yeah. So, look, you got Sale, you got Strider, you got Schwelly, you got Raylo, you got AJ, you got Grant Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
So you literally have 6, possibly 7 guys. You could be okay. It's just with pitching, and this is every year to every club, somebody goes down, right?
Yep.
So that's my concern with them. But we'll get into that. We got some time. So let's talk through specifically when you get there, right? It's day 1. We're all doing drills and all of that. And you know what? Let me do some housekeeping. So I've gotten away. Raymond Collins says, good morning, fellas.
What's up, Raymond?
Chris A1 says, great day, my guy. What up, Chris? Chris probably be joining us later. I hope. Raymond Collins says, recovery is a must. Chris says, Greg Maddox was one to watch. Raymond says, what up, A1? A1, what's good, Raymond? Feeling great. Blessed to have another day, bro. Amen. Carrie says, John, is that you? Let's go.
That's me.
Let's go. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We got the man, the myth, the legend, John from Out of Your Falcon Mind. And we're, John, look it, man. I think I echo the sentiments of everyone when I say, man, we're just damn glad to see you. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that, man.
Damn glad to see you. So, let's get to it. So it's first day. You're kicking it around at the water cooler with the other coaches. Give me some of the strategies and or action plans for pitchers that you'd be looking to work on at the beginning of camp.
Yeah, I mean, other than just getting physically ready to go throw, it's most of those guys probably already have been working at home. They've been doing stuff. Yeah. They've been getting ready to go out there. I think every pitcher wants to make sure their fastball is good. They can locate their fastball because literally everything plays off of their fastball. So if you can't locate a good fastball, then your off speed's crap. And your doesn't matter because they're not. A smart hitter is going to say, well, I'm going to sit here and wait for him to throw me one because he can't throw anything right now. So yeah, that's the first thing, especially and two, we got Drake Baldwin, young catcher. They're going to be joining with Chris Sean Murphy this year. So it's like those guys going to be developing a rapport, figuring out hey, because I know Liam, he has guys that on his team, on his travel team, and now he's developing relationships with high school. Like his couple guys, like he absolutely wants him to be that catcher. It doesn't always work out that way, but like he's got his favorite catcher for sure.
Right.
They just have a rapport. They kind of just understand each other. They can just give each other a look, and he knows, So like that's all that relationship building is happening. But just kind of like I said, just basic mechanical stuff. And I'm sure the pitching coaches, which is what's happening now with him, they're watching every little thing because dude, they can be just the slightest of tweak. And all of a sudden, there's 3 miles an hour. You know what I mean? Like, or 4 or negatively. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're looking at just kind of everything. How can we maximize every one of these guys? And they're all different. And that's the thing that the pitching coach becomes so important. Is like it's not just managing the bullpen or whatever. It's literally being able to assess very different throwers and like, okay, what can we do to get the most out of those guys? Exactly, because that's what they're and that's. again, that's what he's doing pretty much now every day. Is like, okay, let's, and I think that's what they did. They kind of told him, like on even the week of tryouts, like it's like, hey, we know we threw on Tuesday. We don't see him on Thursday again. Number one, can he repeat that performance? And two, is it if this is a bullpen situation type of thing, can he come out of the bullpen? You know what I mean? And like a couple of days later, and still have what he had that day. Or does he need extra rest? That type of thing. So just a lot of it's just for the pitchers themselves, it's just getting loose, getting back to the everyday grind of it. And POs have the life, man. I mean, talking about the life. Like it's like when they say they show up, do their work, and go golf. That's what they do. They show up early. They throw their bullpen through their flat ground. They do their bands. They all right. Y'all have a good time.
Have a good time.
We'll see y'all 5 hours later. Y'all go see her hit the rest of the day. Like he freaking loves it, dude. Like it's like he shows up even like. Like I said, he'll do his flat ground Monday. Tuesday, they ran. They went to the varsity bullpen and did some exercises. Meanwhile, these guys are getting pelted with balls on the infield, and then they got to run when they make errors. Like, this is like, man, this is fantastic. They have the life. Like that is the way to go. If you can pitch, man, you should just do it.
Hey man, but if you can pitch, you should do it anyway. Because
for sure, that's a hell of a go ahead and make a living. But But no, it's but that's just the initial stuff, with spring training. Those guys just kind of getting, and hopefully avoiding every injury they possibly can. Make sure they're doing their recovery, doing everything they're possible. Because the worst thing for a baseball fan to hear is a spring training injury that knocks the guy out for half a season or a full year. You know what I mean? That's the worst. That's basically it.
So let me ask you this: you referenced your son having. And not just your son. Let me be fair. Every pitcher in the world has their own favorite catcher that they like to throw to. Let's keep it real. I mean, we're people, right? You know what I mean? You and Mike had a rapport that's second. And like, you guys would have to be friends because it comes across on screen. Your rapport is just it's legendary. So I can imagine if you were on a team, you want Mike to be your catcher because you already have that rapport, right?
Right.
But let's talk to the converse of that. So, and I bring it up.
If Mike knew anything about baseball, yeah. But she does not know a damn thing. He couldn't even tell you he was on the team. Maybe Acuna. Maybe.
I'm not touching that one.
Hey, I love him, but I love him. Right, he's not a baseball fan. It's fine.
So, God, you made me forget. Okay, so a couple years ago, right, we trade Contreras. Big 3-team deal, which you hardly see in baseball. Big 3-team deal. We get Sean Murphy from the A's, and I'm not ripping on I'm not ripping on Sean Murphy, but the justification for it was behind the scenes. Some of our pitchers were not as comfortable throwing to Contreras as they were others, which motivated the Braves to go out and get Murphy. Now, to the layman fan who doesn't know the extent of what a catcher does, you're thinking, oh, you guys are idiots. Contreras did this and he did that. And what did Sean Murphy do? And while I will say that Sean Murphy offensively has not hit the mark, although he was injured basically. You get a bad oblique, good luck with life. Okay? If you've ever had a bad oblique, which I've had, I know you guys look at me and say you can't pull fat, but whatever. I wasn't always this big. But
it hurts to laugh, cough, talk, everything.
It hurts. That's why when those guys get a bruised rib, I don't see how you got to be tough to be a football player. I've had bruised ribs. I didn't want to lay on that side.
No,
I didn't want anybody
to wrap up as much as you want.
Oh my God! And it's like you talking pain. So, he did have the oblique, but what I will say is catchers a lot of time can determine a success or failure of a pitcher by the game you call, right? To your point, if a guy can't crack your fastball, you're throwing it up and down. Now, understand, a fastball isn't just throwing it across the middle of the plate. You can throw it in, you can throw it out, you can throw it up. You want to back him off the plate. He's a right-hander. You can come into it, then you can go low and away. There are lots of things you can do with it, but a catcher has to understand sequencing and when to throw a pitch, right? And so if you look at, I'm not playing devil's advocate. I'm just kind of putting something out there because
Mhm.
I've heard a lot from, that basically we lost the trade. I don't think we did. Right? I don't think we did. And I don't think we did. Now, if you're talking offensively, okay. But the Braves had one of the best pitching staffs last year.
Mhm.
Right? And it was 50-50 with Sean and
Travis.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's 50-50 last year. So you could argue that while no, he didn't contribute much offensively, you're taking away a run or two per game. You're very much so contributing, right?
Yeah.
But let's talk through that. Talk through like the advantages of having a good catcher and the difference that they make.
The very first day of tryouts, Liam's head coach, who's been a head coach at this school forever. I mean, like I think he's in the Georgia High School Hall of Fame already. But anyway, he told him, he said, "Look, guys," he's like, "most important player on a team is a catcher, period." And he was like, "There's so many things that go into it, because like what the stuff you just said, like you got to be able to." He's essentially like everybody talks about center being the smartest player in football as far as the offense goes, right? And being able to pick out what blitzes are coming and what they're seeing in coverages. Same thing with the catcher, right? So they've got to be able to be aware of everything going on the field at that time. Like everything. Runner where the runners are at, their positions, like we're going to back pick, we're going to is it need to throw over, anything like that.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, having that rapport with the pitcher where, okay, I know this guy so well, like his fastball's not working today or something that, they can go out there and give him a little bit of a tip. Hey, just you're flying open or, whatever the case may be, like make this little adjustment. It's not just catch the ball, throw it back to the pitcher, catch the ball, throw it back. Like it's like they've got to have their head like completely 100%. Like they can't take an inning off. They can't take a pitch off. Like they're like, guys in the outfield just sitting there chilling, picking their, looking at the stands. They can do that during the game. You know what I mean? It's like, but catcher got to be locked in every single pitch, and being able to, like I said, just read like even the bullpen prior to the game is like you almost know then, like like there was one time we were at a Braves game, they were playing the Phillies, and Cole Hamels was warming up in the bullpen. Dude, he was, I can't say it on this show, he was cussing every single pitch. I mean, just like letting it, I mean, the whole stadium could hear him, and he like his last one he threw it and was just like, let it go. And we were like, oh, this is going to be great for us because he's pissed. Like this is going to be, and he didn't last the first inning.
Oh wow!
And we shelled him, and it's like he knew like I don't have it today, and it's like and it's so, it's just funky with pitchers because there'll be days like that. They'll just be like, we've seen it with our guys. Like it doesn't matter. The best of the best pitcher in the game can go out there and get shelled one time, because there's something's not moving, something's not working, just a little bit of tweak is off, whatever the case may be. But that catcher though, like that's the guy that has to be like, hey man, like not only are you the calling, they're not necessarily, some coaches call a pitch and stuff like that, but not only are you responsible for this, but you also kind of are like a psychologist here in a way too. You have to know what every single pitcher like is going to respond.
What's
differently.
Going on with them that day, right?
Yeah.
Like did you get some sleep the night before? Was
right?
It, right. Stuff. And
there's guys like Sale. I'm pretty sure you can go up to Chris Sale and probably punch him in his chest, be like, dude, get your shit together, let's go. And he'd probably be like, all right, I'm good. You know what I mean? But there may be other guys that's like it's not their way. You have to maybe talk. You have to talk to him a little bit softer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like that's a whole other level. They have to just understand, like, okay, every pitcher, every guy's different. They're all human beings. They all respond differently to different criticism. I'm not giving you criticism, but I'm just telling you this is what's going to help maybe give this a try. It's like, so it's, and every pitcher to an extent has an ego of some sort, of course, right? Because they know, they think they know what this is what I'm doing. This is what I've done forever.
What got me here, right?
This is what got me here. It's like, so they got to be open-minded to changes, or just trying to change. That's what I've always told Liam. I was like, dude, you may hear, because that's the thing. If you got a travel ball coach and you have a pitching coach and you have a high school coach, another pitching coach, and maybe you're taking lessons too, right? You have so many voices in your ear. So it's like, listen to everybody, because they're all there for a reason. They're all, probably have good information. It may not all work for you, but you can at least try something. Like always try it. Because it may, you may like this little thing that his coach showed him with this curved slider, whatever it is. Like, I was like, if he had never tried that, I mean, like he literally threw that. That was one of his best pitches during his tryouts. Like struck guys out on it, and I was like, dude, that might have just got you on the team. Like that one little tip may have secured your spot on the team.
Yeah.
So like you got to be open minded as a pitcher to be like, yeah, man, I'm gonna take in all this information. I'm gonna try it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, no big deal. Just toss it out and go on to the next. And it's not everything you're going to hear is going to work. But yeah, catchers have a tough job, man, because and then they have to go out there and perform offensively or try to perform up, to go hit. So that's why if you get a catcher that can also hit really well, that's just a bonus, man. Like that's just a big bonus that you can get an offensive catcher as well. Because those guys, I mean, that's they're going through it all game.
Yeah, that's something, man. What's interesting to me, and it's just like you said, the pitcher, sometimes you got to be a psychologist, and sometimes you got to be like, hey man, let's go. And other times you gotta you're really like a little manager on the field.
Literally, yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
That's why so many of those guys end up being managers.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. That's definite. Okay. So I think, and ultimately where I'm going is if you look at the Braves ERA for the past couple of years, you could make the argument that, well, okay, no, offensively, they may not be apples to apples, but as far as calling games, as far as the ERA, as far as the performance of the pitching staff, and when you look at that, you got to look at the total performance, not 100%. Just the starters, but also the relievers. I think you could say the trade's even. I wouldn't say the Braves won it, but the Braves didn't lose it because, again, what good does it do you to have a catcher that hits 50 home run if your pitching staff ERA is 5, right? You're not really beating anybody. So you have to consider that.
Yeah, I mean, unless the only way you could even remotely say that is if Contreras went and became all of a sudden an amazing defensive catcher. I mean, and was doing the same things that that Murphy was doing. Like that's. But yeah, I agree with you. Like it's just tough to play revisionist history on that one because you don't know. You don't know how many runs was possibly saved. From Murphy.
Yeah. Okay, though. All right, so let's get into some other stuff, right? Let's say you come in, right, and you've got short-term and long-term goals. Talk to what that could be for, any pitcher going into camp today. Let's say you're Bryce Elder, right?
I was going to ask you about you. I was going to ask you, are you still on the? Are you still like Bryce Elder as far as like, hey, yeah? Or are you just like, I'm good, I'm done, I've seen enough? Like it's the same thing every time. Like
that ship is sailed for me.
Me too.
For me, that ship is sailed.
Me too. Like he'll have one good performance and all, like just 4 crappy ones, and it's like that one good one will keep him up for a while, and it's like, man, like, but that's what you talked about earlier. Like he doesn't throw that hard, so like if you don't throw that hard, that you don't have a strikeout pitch, you better be hitting the corners like all the time. And if he's not, then he's getting shelled, and that's just unfortunate.
Or your other pitches need to be otherworldly.
Right? Yeah, for sure.
So you could throw 91, 92 if the swing and miss on your curveball was 98 percentile, right? Then you could live like that because you're basically just your fastball is your breaking pitch and your breaking pitch is your fastball, right? What was it? Mariano Rivera threw one pitch, but it was so good you couldn't do anything with it, right? So they used to say he'd throw it in New York and it'd end up in California. Like that's how much it would move by the time, and guys would tell young guys to come up and be like, yeah, we know it's coming, but you just can't do anything with it. If you got a pitch like that, it really doesn't matter what your fastball does.
Right.
But in today's baseball society, if you don't have it and you're throwing 91, 92, man, you're living dangerously. How'd that song go? You're living on a prayer.
Yeah.
You are John Bon Jovi living on a prayer because it's not if, it's when you throw that bad boy and it goes across the middle of the plate, it's going a long way. I mean, a long way. These major league hitters could probably hit 120 miles an hour. Like you throw anything. Bobby Cox used to say, you can hit a jet if you time it right. 100%. And that's, that's pretty much it. But yeah, with Bryce Elder, I haven't seen that he could repeat that success.
Yeah.
Right. Because again, when you first come up, you catch the league off guard. Right. But then they adjust because guess what? You got more technology out there. You got more cameras.
Oh man,
Houston Astros. You got more cameras. You got
everywhere.
more, things that you can take advantage of. That these guys can now break down and look at everything that you do. And MLB is a game of adjustments,
Hmm.
right? It's a game of adjustments. So, I just,
Yeah, guys going to dugouts with their iPad, looking at their previous
yeah,
at bat.
exactly.
I
Looking
mean,
at it
it's like,
as soon after. So I really don't see. He's not shown me an ability to adjust.
hmm.
Right. So I really don't think he'll be a Brave next year. That's me.
Yeah, I
But you
don't
know
think so
what?
either.
Let's get into some of these pitchers, right? So give me your full take, full bore, you know, start to end, Genesis to Revelations, Bryce Elder. Okay, came in, great season. What happened?
I don't, dude. I don't. I mean, like you said, like I don't. I think his secondary pitches just aren't good enough
Right.
to. So like I said, if he's just a little bit off, if he's not painting all day long, then guys can sit back there and wait on their 92 or 91, whatever he throws, and just tee off on it. And that's the thing. If you give a hitter something that he can like if you give a hitter something he can like eliminate from his thought process, like okay, like this is what I'm. Like, he goes up there with a clean, like most guys are going up there. Like they'll tell you, go up there, sit fastball, right? You want to prepare for the fastball. Pretty much every guy, you know. And if you get off speed, spit on it unless it's thrown for a strike. Wait back on it. All the stuff that they tell hitters. So for Bryce, it's like nothing was just electric, like you said. Like he did not his secondary, nothing was just amazing. And when it fell off, he just couldn't get it back. And like I said, so much of pitching is mental anyway. And
Yeah.
so when you go through, you get shelled this time, you get shelled this. Remember how Kyle Wright was started off, man? Like he just
Yeah.
could not get out of his own head.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was just like, dude, you have the talent. Like you have, and and the same thing with Sean Newcomb. Like guys would look at Sean Newcomb and be like, man, this dude has amazing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he just could not get out of his own head and couldn't figure it out. So and I think Bryce, I don't think it's a work ethic thing. I think Bryce works his ass off. I just don't think he's the quality of some of those secondary pitches is quite there. And so it when you throw 91, you don't have a great secondary, outstanding secondary pitches, then it kind of happens with what's happened. Yeah, Chris, what's up, buddy?
What's up, Chris?
What's good, family? How y'all feeling?
Oh man, we
waking up,
doing
brother.
good. Look, I knew you would want to be here, man. Because look, me and you have been talking about having John on here talking Braves for I know the better part of 7, 8, 9 months, man. So I'm
man.
just excited.
And before then, honestly,
Hey man,
Well,
look,
Chris, we did a show a while back, a long time ago, didn't we? Like maybe like a Brave show.
I mean, it was a while. I mean, we had got some Braves talk in and whatnot. But shoot, man, I understand it just been everybody been moving and shaking and doing their thing. So it gets tough, man. It gets tough.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, I can cross this one off my bucket list. I was looking forward to it because I see John, and every time we'd have him on the show and we talk Braves, John would get that look on his face like, oh yeah, and I'd be like, I gotta get him on there. I gotta get him on there. Robert Blackman says, good morning, gentlemen.
What up, Robert?
Jamal D says, yo,
Jamal,
what's going on? We are talking Braves this morning. So Chris, we've just gotten to the point to where we're talking about our pitchers. Well, some of our 4th and 5th starter candidates might be a better way of saying that, right? So we were talking Bryce Elder, and John and I said, please and no thank you. We've seen enough. And no disrespect to him. Look,
Hey, listen. You know how I feel about Bryce Elder. Honestly, he would have never, if we didn't have injuries, the man would never see stardom in it. Like, to me, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, that's no disrespect to him. Bryce, like, and then I think I walked in on it. But Bryce, he definitely worked his butt off. It's just, sometimes you get bad Bryce, sometimes you get good Bryce. It's tough, man. It's real tough. He's had some good quality work for the Braves, but let's just be honest. It's been times to where we've thrown something at the TV looking at Bryce Elder pitch.
Oh yeah,
So it's
man.
just
And
Yeah.
it's up and down about him. It's up and down.
yeah, I think for him too, he may be best suited for maybe like a middle relief type of thing where because it seems like with him,
Yeah,
you get through second, third part of the line. If he's in there that long, that's when he starts having issues too. Like I just start teeing off on him.
Yeah. All right. So
absolutely.
yeah,
That's what I'm
I
saying.
think
Yeah, that's
the
what I'm
council
saying.
voted no on Bryce Elder. That's a no. All right. So Ian Anderson, let's talk
Mm,
about it. Now, Ian
Oh,
had a great year in 2021. Matter of fact, threw a no hitter in the World Series. It was a weird no hitter because
I don't have anything. I'm about to go into the shop.
you said what now?
Oh, my bad, y'all. I'm out and about. Somebody
Okay,
was just
okay.
asking me a question.
no worries, no worries. So Ian Anderson, John, give me your thoughts on Ian. I know that he had Tommy John surgery. What 2023? I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
I want to
I
say
think so. I
2023.
think so. Yeah. Because he came back.
Did yeah
Yeah.
didn't make it up last year. Just give me your thoughts on if he has a chance to make this roster this year.
I think he does. I don't know if it's more me just wanting to believe he does because like I was a huge fan of his in 20
Mhm.
because he does have a lights out changeup. He does
Yeah.
have a secondary pitch that's just ridiculous. And he throws what 95, 96. That's where he topped out at, I think, right before he had TJ.
Mhm.
So I think he threw a curve as well. So it's like he's a guy who I think, and he's been in the World Series, like at the biggest stage. Like he's done it right. Like as pressure wise, it can't get any more than what he's already experienced. So
Mhm.
mentally, he has to know like I can do this. Like it's in me. I can do this. I just got to get And so how he rebounds from Tommy John, which I mean, most of the folks these days come back sometimes even stronger. Sometimes they've added a few miles an hour to their velo. So I want to believe that not that Tommy John's ever a good thing, but almost like that was like a reset for him. Like
Right.
it was like take the time off, almost like here we go, we start from scratch. Let's build this back up. This is all in the past now. Like the what went bad, but hey, let's move on from now because he has like you said that fifth starter. And in general, just the depth. You go 1, 2 guys go down, you're going to have people step up, young
Yeah.
guys, or just somebody like Ian who's been there, done that. He'll have his opportunity to cement himself in the squad if he can take a hold of it. So I want to believe he can be there and be that guy, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Chris, give me your thoughts on Ian Anderson.
Oh man, John just really like laid it out perfectly. Honestly, I would love to see if there's any possible way for him really to bounce back from this Tommy John because I mean Ian Anderson. I mean we got to give him his credit. At one point in time, we thought we had like a real deal gunner when it comes to like pitching. When we were looking at Ian Anderson when he had that great year a couple years ago, and then he just has not been the same. But honestly, we're gonna with the bullpen that we have, with the pitching that we have, everyone who is on the Braves roster right now is going to get a shot. Everyone is going to get a shot. And Ian, he has the opportunity to try to resurrect his career from the standpoint of being like labeled as an ace type player. And shoot, man, moving forward, I just want to see what we're going to be able to do because we have so many holes to fill and it's a lot going on. But the pitching, the pitching is what it is as far as like the personnel. I don't believe the Braves are going to be able to bring anybody else back, bring anybody else in. And I don't want to give up on the Dylan Cease thing, but it's just,
I
fellas,
know.
we know how Alex is, okay? We know how the Braves organization is.
Mhm.
So it's just like, do I really believe that we're going to get Dylan Cease? I got like a glimmer of hope, but honestly, man, we already know money talks. And if you don't have enough of it, you just don't get the player.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what T-Will and I were talking about. It's like, dude, it's so annoying because Liberty Media's got more money than God, and we could go get whoever we wanted. You know what I mean? If they let him
But
do
that's
it.
what I'm saying. Aren't we? I thought we was we're our own entity now. I thought we got from under Liberty Media.
Did we? I don't
We
know.
did. We
Oh,
did.
okay.
We
All
did.
right.
We did.
Well, never
But
mind.
even
But
still, with that, it's like it's only a certain threshold the Braves are willing to cross right now.
yeah,
Yeah,
all.
probably
Like
because of that.
regardless of what Alex talking about, it's only a certain threshold they're willing to,
Yeah. I,
Did y'all see? No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, too. Did
go,
y'all
go ahead.
see the? I think it was just a quick article that some owners are proposing they may try to do a salary cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you do that, and you're probably going to have a strike.
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah, because I mean, the
you
players are never going to. Why would they?
I
sign
didn't
on
see
that?
this person right here. I was gonna get right here.
You mute him. Okay, he muted himself. All right, so I don't see, and I'd be remiss if Ian Anderson is out of minor league options, which means if you send him down, he might not come back. In other words, if he's out of minor leagues options, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, but if a player is out of minor league options and he doesn't make your team, he has to clear waivers, does he not? Another team can pick him up, correct? Yep. So, and I believe the same is true for Bryce Elder, but let me. I could be wrong. Let me check.
Man, it feels like it should be.
It feels like it, but let me see.
Travis, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Ladarius, what's up, buddy?
Give me a few minutes, fellas. I'm dropping my truck off. 1 minute.
No worries, man. No worries. Yeah. So it looks like I think Bryce is out of options as well. So one of those, I'd venture one of those is not going to make it.
Yeah.
So you might see a late preseason trade, with Bryce or Ian. I honestly, I'm not going to say it's the same thing as Bryce because Ian helped us win a World Series. So he is always going to have a place in my heart. I'd be lying if I didn't say that, but I don't see a path back from what he would need to do.
Yeah.
Which would be to find another secondary pitch, right?
Right.
I just don't see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could happen. I could be wrong.
Because right now,
happened before.
Totally. Because right now, guys can just sit like, okay, if they recognize the changeup, just don't swing.
Sit on it, right?
Yeah.
And just sit on. I'm gonna ignore your fastball, right?
Exactly.
And unless you give them a reason to, it's not going to get better. So I mean, again, look. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, and look, we're old enough, and like I don't know if Chris is old enough, but can remember like guys, guys aren't given the time they were used to be given.
Correct.
So like so many, it's because this is like quarterbacks in the NFL. Like rookies come in, like everybody develops a little bit differently. Like the light bulb may go off 2-3 years into the league. Same thing with pitchers. Like Glavine was terrible his first year. Smoltz was terrible his first year. I mean, terrible, right? Like I mean, these are guys that I mean, Smoltz. That's why one reason he got traded. Like he was so bad in Detroit. They're like, yeah, well, it was good. They thought they won that trade when that happened.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's just today is so competitive where they're going to bring the young guys up, and if they succeed, then great. But that's what the other guys that may not, it may not click 2 years down the road. That's what they're fighting against. That's what they're competing against. So, that's why it's like I think it's with Ian, like with Bryce, it's like you've seen the entire arsenal. You know what it is. We've seen it. It's like with Ian, it's like we know he's got some top end stuff. It's just like mentally, maybe his, like I said, that first year was like we talked about, like you talked about earlier. People hadn't seen him before. He's got this big over the top elite, that's coming at you, big guy, devastating changeup. So maybe the league was like, hold on, what is this? And then they kind of adjusted to it. Some things happened with Ian mentally or physically with his delivery, and it just went off. So now it's like you've seen those things with Ian, so it's like you want to think they could come back. You know what I'm saying? But that, like I said, that's just the nature of the league, though. I mean, and fans want to see production immediately. So it's like and I get it, I totally get it. But just some guys don't all of a sudden click like that sometimes.
Do you think? Because you bring up an interesting point. In today's league of hustle and bustle and hey man, let's get them in here, get them in, get it out, move them out, raw hide, let's keep it going. Do you think that you can damage some guys' confidence by bringing them up too quickly? And do you think that happens?
100%, without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because you bring a guy up, he gets shelled his first outing or second out, then yeah, I mean, you want to say like, because we look at it as like not almost like they're robots. It's like, oh, well, just he just needs to forget about it and come back. Yeah, that's easy to say.
Correct.
But when you're in front of the world, in front of a stadium full of people and you're on TV and you just get embarrassed in your first outing, it's not as easy just to say like, all right, I'm gonna move on. Like, it's great if you can,
right?
And that's and that's the discussion I've had with Liam over and over and over again. Is like, dude, every level you go, it's gonna be harder. Every level every age group you move up, the guys get better and better and better. So mentally, like, you've got to be able to understand you're going to have really bad days. You're going to have days you go out there and get shelled. Right. It's like, how do you respond from those days? That's what's important. Like, or how do you respond on the mound? Like, are you going to have bad body language on the mound? Are you going to like, it's like, whether you're showing your coach or the umpire, like all that stuff that's got to be in here. You know what I mean? So like, and he's done a really, look, he gave up in 12U, he gave up a walk-off home run. And he threw it. I mean, the kid just. I mean, he threw an inside high fastball, and the kid just got his hands in on it and put a good swing on it. And it was like barely inside the foul pole, like just barely, And I was like, oh. And then that was the first like really just adverse type thing that had happened to him, like on the mound. And so I was looking at him, from the stands, and he just watched it go. He turned around and started laughing, and I was like, oh shit. Even his coach said after the game, he was like, dude, he was like, I've seen 11-year-olds just like break down and cry when that happened and lose it. Right. He's like, I knew he's gonna be okay because like he was laughing and like he said, I talked to him after the game. He was like, that was a good swing. He's like, I threw it where I wanted to throw it. The kid just put a good swing on it.
Top of it. Right.
But I was so proud of him in that moment though, because I was like, dude, that's exactly the mentality you have to have. It's like, because you're gonna go out there and I mean, it's not always gonna be, because like when you're 8 and 10 years old, when you're dominating, well, that's one thing. But when you start getting older, when kids get better, that's not going to be the case always. So, I mean, but anyway, that's just a huge important part. I think it gets overlooked sometimes. But like you said, guys come up too quickly, or they're shoving at AAA, and then all of a sudden they get to majors, and it's like, oh wow, these guys aren't swinging at my crap anymore, or they're timing me up, instantly or whatever. Like that's the case. I mean, it's an adjustment period, and you got to have a little bit of patience when it comes to those guys. And it's like I said, that's what's tough. It's thankfully we have the season's forever long. So, as if you mess up a few times, you do have a little bit of, the wiggle room there, but it's tough, man. So.
It is tough. When I think of that, I think of Nacho Alvarez last year, right? Because Nacho Alvarez was doing great, came up in the major leagues and bombed, right? Yeah. And so now he's got to go back. And I'm not going to say that it's damaged his confidence, but I don't think that his return to the minors was as good as I thought it would be. Yeah. Right now, again, he did have a rapid ascension. So maybe he should have been, to your point, maybe right at AAA. He could come out this year and be lights out. But we'd be remiss and darn near irresponsible if we don't. These are human beings.
Yeah, man.
These are human beings. And look, you can have an experience that can shake you to your core. Okay. Yeah. I tell this story. My brother's Eric Parker. A lot of you guys know him. And the thing about, even though my name's Wilson, there's a story behind that. But even we Parkers are typically very fast human beings. Just God-given gift. Right. So real quick story. I'm meeting with Eric and some cousins of ours. And if you know me, I have a propensity to talk a little trash. It's just kind of a family trait, right? So I'm sitting down. I think we're playing spades or something. And anyway, the topic of racing comes up, right? And I'm like, well, I got my shoes in the car. There's nobody in here that can beat me. Matter of fact, wherever I go, I'm I'm talking just trash, right? And my uncle, my cousin, I'm sorry, that's how bad he beat me. My cousin Bob said, well, we can race if you want. And the way he said it was just so casual. I should have picked up on it. I was like,
yeah, like, nah, he's too happy, too easy about this.
Bro, I've probably raced 100 people in my life. I've only lost 3 times. One of them to him. Okay. So I'm on one. I'm like, whatever. I don't even gotta go and get my shoes, Bob. We can go right here. But let's go. Fine,
Barefoot.
right? We get out there. Now, first off, Bob is 6'5". Okay. Good looking dude, Adonis, body of a god. Okay. None of that means a thing to me. Because again, at this point, I don't even think I've ever lost a race. Or if I did, it was to one. It was like one guy, right? So I'm coming out there full of confidence. We take off. His get off is so damn quick. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. He's 6'5", man. He beat me by 10 feet. 10 feet. It wasn't even close. My brother is in tears. Because he told me, you don't want this. But of course, I didn't listen. Bob, we going again. You just got lucky, Dim. He beat me by 15 feet. Okay? Damn. I can't make this shit up. We go one more time just because my ego would, like, I am literally, Marty McFly on Back to the Future, how you couldn't dare him? That's me. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I'm going to get me some victory today. I don't care if I kill us both. I'm going to get me. He beat me by 20 feet. So at that point,
you were glutton for punishment.
But I'm not gonna lie, it damaged me, right? It did something to me that day because I felt like there was another human being that I just could not run with. And that blew my mind, right? Never before had I ever, and I played sports all my life, never before had I ever felt like I just can't run with this guy. Damn it, I just couldn't run. Bob is probably world-class speed. Like world-class speed. Because I was fast. It doesn't seem like it by this story, which clearly I wasn't on that day, but I was fast, okay? Anybody have ever played football, baseball, any sport, they would tell you I was fast. And yes, Ladarius, I did have a big ego. Whatever. The point is, and getting back to the Braves, I can see how if you put somebody in a circumstance where they go out and you let them go 6 innings and they give up 12 runs, they may never be the same, right? Mm-hmm. They may never recover from that because they may say to themselves, look at my brother laughing. You anyway. He's laughing because he knows.
Of course he is.
But as all good brothers would do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you walk away with that feeling like I can't compete. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I get that in regards to that. And I saw that last year in Nacho. I don't think Nacho was, and you had to bring him up because everybody in our organization was hurt. You didn't have a choice but to bring him up, right? But I hope that didn't damage him. So let's get back to our list of pitchers. Grant Holmes. John, give me your thoughts on, because this is the one guy where I'm like, maybe.
Hey, look, a mullet like that, I'm in. I'm in. Best ball in the game right there. That's all I need. That's all I need.
It's all in the mullet, baby.
Look, if you're going to have that kind of mullet, you can bring it. Like, all right. Yeah, I mean, I like what I saw last year, man. Like, it's almost like he always came across to me like it's like you don't know what you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it was like he's just out there just doing it. Kind of like early Matzik, like when he came up, and so it's like, yeah, I mean, I want to see him be able to just maybe advance what he did last year, obviously, and build on that and be able to do it again, because that's what we have to see from all these guys, that come up like that. But yeah, I'm on board with Grant. I like him.
What's interesting about, well, you know what? Let me stop. Chris, give me your thoughts on Grant Holmes.
Grant Holmes. I think honestly, I think Grant Holmes is going to start a few games for the Braves this year. I definitely see that. If everything stays the way it is, I think the Braves are going to be rolling out, some pitching staff by committee. You know who your gunners are. You know who your starters are. Spencer Strider coming back. Cy Young sale. Then you got Ray Lowe, also Swilly. So you know who those pillars are. But it's going to be times where you're going to be looking for that fifth starter. Going to be times to where like guys need rest. So that's where like I'm looking at Bryce Elder, but I'm also looking at Grant Holmes as well. Bryce, because he's done it before, he's with the organization, he's used to it. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the starting role this year. But also I expect at least maybe once or twice, for whatever reason, Grant Holmes is definitely going to be a starter for the Atlanta Braves this year. I think they like his stuff. I think they like him as a player. and I think they're going to give him an opportunity. I really do.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I think so. The book on him is his sweeper or slider is plus. He's got a fastball sits around 95, 96, but that sweeper slider combo is swing and miss, darn near lights out, and it plays, right? What doesn't play, I think his what does he have, that other pitch, John? He's got a cutter that may not play. But
yeah, sometimes it didn't cut.
Right. but he throws it just enough to keep you off of it, right? And so, just from what I'm hearing, like, of all of the Braves, shall we say, pitchers that are right there about to break through from a starting perspective, I would say Grant Holmes probably has the most chance to succeed.
Yeah,
right?
I agree with that.
And so, yeah, I'm okay with Grant Holmes. I think Grant, and which kind of, I understand why you wouldn't just want to go out and sign somebody, because if he's going to give you just as good as Grant Holmes, why not just pitch Grant Holmes? It's a lot cheaper, right?
Yeah.
Gentlemen, let's not forget that. Let me tell you something. The highest paid brothers out there in any sport are pitchers. Okay. Okay, I could suck as a pitcher and make $5 million right now. I'm thinking, how about me, you, John, Chris? We go out and let's just pitch to each other. See if we can,
I already told you, T. Will. I've been working on it. I've been going through a little training and everything myself.
Hey, they can pay me $1 million for half a season and release me. I'm good. I'll take it. Mrs. Wilson would be happy with that. You said what?
All I need is a half a season. They can bring me in after the All-Star break, and I'm gonna finish off the season, and then I'm gonna retire right after, just to be like, yeah, did that.
You'd have to. Your fucking arm would be falling off, man. That's like,
without a doubt.
I might can probably hit 70, 75 maybe these days.
I think I'm rocking 60 miles an hour at best. Like,
hey,
I don't think you're gonna get much out of me after that.
I think I can get to 85 if I put my all into it.
Oh man, hey, I love it, bro. I'm gonna need a knuckleball, John. That's the only way I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna need a knuckler that just buckles people. You know what I mean? Other than that,
I'm gonna get that Frio Necro. I'm gonna get that knuckleball.
Oh yeah.
Then y'all make sure y'all send me to the hospital to get my UCL checked on right after the game. Okay?
Exactly.
Amen. All right, so I think we all agree that Grant Holmes has a pretty good shot. So now I'm going to bring this guy up, and I've heard pluses and deltas on this, but let's see where we are. AJ Smith-Shawver. Give me your thoughts on this one, John.
I think this is the case where just super young, right? And when he was, was he 20 when he came up at his first?
He was young.
Yeah, like 20 years old. So crazy stuff. That's why they don't want to. That's why I'm sure people have wanted him in trade deals, and they just haven't. They've been reluctant to let him go because they see what potential is there. Like the kid was he a quarterback in high school, and he just started pitching like because he could throw, and all of a sudden he's like. They were like, "Oh shit, he can throw like 95. Like, what are you doing? Come over here and play baseball." So for him, it's just really, really, really honing in those secondary pitches because he's got a great fastball. We know that. It's got a lot of life to it. Guys swing and miss. So it's really just perfecting those secondaries and getting a better curve, change up, whatever he wants to throw, whatever he's throwing. So that can be something he can go to. But long term, I don't know how they see. I guess they see him long term as a starter. I don't know if they've really talked about it as far as like their long term outlook for him or not. I mean, because he's got clearly you could bring him out of the pen for an inning or two with that type of fastball, But definitely a guy that can make the squad. I wouldn't if he came out and struggled. I still wouldn't jump off the boat just yet because like we just talked about, young guys that sometimes take a little bit longer to develop, especially guys that haven't been playing the sport that long. So be gifted at what they're doing, and they can throw a ball like that. It's tough to you got to know when to cut it, but I don't think you cut it yet. You know what I'm saying? Like I think you got to give him a little bit more time. So not everybody can be Michael Harris and jump from AA and just be that guy.
Right.
Yeah. And I would venture to say it's a little more difficult for pitchers. I'm sure Michael Harris would not agree. Shout out to you, Mike.
Yeah, man. Money Mike. Money
Meow.
Mike.
We saw him
Meow.
actually
Shout out to you,
pitch.
Mike. Meow.
He will.
Y'all remember
Yeah,
that?
but yeah,
Meow.
Mike is a trip, man. Mike is a
Mike
trip.
is
You gotta
hilarious.
love him. You
That
gotta love
actually
him. You
that
gotta
was
love the personality.
Oh man.
that was Tyler Masick. That and a lot of people don't know that about Tyler's a card, man.
Oh,
Tyler
dude.
put him on.
Hilarious.
One of my favorite Braves, man. Tyler Masick.
Daniel got arrested. Daniel got arrested at the parade because didn't believe he was playing the team.
Lord have mercy.
Dude, I'm one of the Braves. I really am though.
Yeah,
I really am. I really am.
Yeah.
And that year he was Mr. Brave, if you want to know the truth. I mean, damn,
man.
we don't.
Oh,
we don't
100%.
that was just that was ironic, is what that was. That's crazy, man. That is absolutely crazy.
Hey, I will say about AJ Smith-Shawver, that's another guy who I think is going to get an opportunity to start this year, y'all. And like I said, if the roster is constructed the way it is on present day, nobody else comes in, AJ is going to get an opportunity. Last year, you think about how much confidence the Braves had to put him in that playoff game last year. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you, it was not fair to AJ, but the Braves they didn't have any other option.
Right.
They really did not. Chris Sale had just went down, and Chris Sale was scheduled to pitch that game, but then he had the back spasms. Remember T. Will? We was praying and hoping that it was just a smoke move and everything, but it was not a smoke move. He really had back spasms, and then when that happened, I just was like, the playoffs are done. If we could have started off with Chris Sale and maybe get a leg up, I would have felt better. But not having Chris Sale that whole playoffs and then having to insert Smith-Shawver into that starting role against a team that was hot like the Padres, that's a tough act. So my thing is, when going into the game, I said, you know what, Smith, whatever happens, I'm not jumping off the bandwagon for you because I know you was inserted into a very tough situation. And he got his head beat in. He did. But at the same time, I still believe that AJ has the stuff. Like John said, he do have to work on the secondary things. But it's a reason why the Braves haven't traded him or anything like that. I believe they believe in AJ. I believe they believe in the potential and in the stuff that he has. And I think he's going to get an opportunity. This year, I believe it's going to be a year of opportunity for a lot of guys. And at the year's end, it's going to be like, okay, we tried everything we possibly can with everybody. This is the guys that need to stay. These are the guys that may need to find a new place. So I can really see it being like that.
I wasn't even mad at him at that Padres game. I just felt bad for him. I was just like,
same, John.
Just like,
same.
Damn, dude. And but in a way, like he'll be a lot stronger because of it. I mean, you go through that type of outing in the playoffs against the Padres and the way they were hitting, and it's like, he'll be fine. He'll just, like Michael just said, he's gonna be fine. He just has to get, like you said, man, get that secondary stuff going. Mentally, though, I mean, he's been through the worst. So
Yeah. And guys, let's talk about that for a sec, because I don't think people really understand. I'm gonna tell you my opinion. Other than golf, which is very mentally taxing, baseball to me is the most mentally taxing sport on the planet, because if you succeed 3 out of 10 times at the plate, you are world class. Yeah. You have to become okay with failure. 100%. Right? You have to. So in my mind's eye, that's my thought. John, give me yours. Like, is that in line step with what you think, or give me your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. I mean, just having a kid that's played since he was 4 I mean, it's like, and as he got further into it, having to explain to him, hey man, like what you just said, I told him that. I said, look, if you succeed, and this is before he really just became a pitcher, but I was like, look at these guys, dude. If you succeed 30% of the time at your job, you're making the Hall of Fame possibly.
Right.
Like that's, which is insane to say. But I was like, but I told him, I was like, dude, you're going to have to be able to be okay with that. Like you're not, at the plate, you're going to strike out sometimes. And it's going to be in big situations. You're not going to come through there's going to be bad things happen. You're going to have to not only be okay with it, but be able to recover with it the next inning. If you strike out at the plate, like it just happened to him before. He struck out, had to go pitch the next inning. All right, get that. That's got to be gone. Like whether you had guys on base, whatever the case, that's over with. Like now you have to go prepare for to face these hitters. So it's severely overlooked. And I think as the kids come up through different levels of baseball, as you see every year, like, and we've seen it, and it's not always a talent thing. Some kids are super talented, but they don't have it mentally.
Right.
Like they'll, what I'm saying? Like, and we've seen it. We've had friends that are like going out there and like they're fantastic hitters, but they cannot keep it together. And it's like and coaches, they can't handle that. When they even now, like he's 14, and it's like his coach will tell him like, "Hey, dude," like, and so tells the whole team like, whether you're having a good outing or a bad outing, I don't want to be able to know. I don't want to be able to tell by looking at you on the mound. Like, that's like, like you need to be just focused in. Like, I'll worry about taking you out, and if we need a mound visit, we'll have a mound visit. But it's like you have to go up there. Then the most important pitch is the next pitch. So like, don't worry about what just happened. And but as a person, like you have to have that kind of makeup in you. Like, I don't think you just develop it. I mean, you can develop it, but I think you have to have that ability to be like, okay, like this is, and that's what me and my son, we've talked about it so much over the years, especially as, like I said, as pitching's become more important to him. And now that he's only a pitcher, we've talked about it a lot, but it's just, and he's done a really good job being mentally strong. But I was like, dude, it's just going to get tougher and tougher. Like, like you've had a lot more success than you've had failure so far.
Right.
And you've had some failures, like this last fall season was a tough season for him. Like we had 4 tournaments. Fall's normally shorter, than, and really, I mean, he had one really good outing, which was the first tournament. Like, and after he had some mechanical things and just wasn't himself, and like, it was a tough last 3 games, and like, it got to him. It was kind of like, it was like, man, so like not the way he wanted to end going into like tryouts for high school. Right. But we had plenty of time, got his mind right, and he was fine. He made the team, right? So, but I told him, I was like, you just because you've had this much more success, you've had failure, like, you're still going to have to. And and like I said, he understands it because like he follows all these guys that are in the pros. Like he takes. I mean, he like I said, any documentary he can watch, he watches. Like he wants to really just kind of like, how do I approach this? What's the smartest way can I approach this? Mentally, from a mental standpoint. Yeah. And it's like I said, yeah. I mean, luckily, like I said, I don't have to. I've never had to really get on to him about his emotions. Like, I mean, he'll get pumped up and you'll see it sometimes, big strikeout, something like that. But for the most part, you can't tell what's going on. Like I said, it's just like,
even keel.
100%. Like and like I've talked to him after some bad games. He's like, well, this is what happened. This is what I knew I was doing. He's like, this is what I got to work on for next game. Like, so it's over with, it's like he doesn't, and I've always had it. And I don't tell anybody how to parent. But I've seen guys get on their kids after a bad outing, and look, dude, man, they already feel like shit. Like they know they sucked. Like they know they had a bad. Like the last thing they need is your dumb ass going, "Hey, like you were terrible."
Right.
Yeah, like, dude, I know I was. Like, and I told Liam from the get, I said, dude, I will never ever do that. Because I played sports growing up too. My dad was not like that, thankfully. You know what I mean? And so, but I saw it happen all around me. So like I told him, I said, dude, I don't care if you even want to talk about it. I was like, if you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it. I was like, we're definitely not talking about it after the game. We can talk about it the next day, 2 days down the road, whatever it may be. I was like, if you just want to be like, hey, I just want to flush this, then flush it. Like I was like, I mean, I'm not your coach. Like I know a little bit, but I mean, I'm not going to sit there and try to like mess you up, Right. So, but yeah, all this long tangent. Yeah, the mental part of it gets severely overlooked, man, from a fan standpoint, because they forget they're humans, and it's all, whether they're young kids coming up or a vet that's coming back from injury, whatever the case may be, like they're all overcoming something, and they all have to just like, there's no, hey, let's just wait and see. Like, it's like, hey, no, you have a game today, you have a game tomorrow, you have a game the next day. Like, you have to perform, so it's tough, but that's why they get paid what they get paid.
Well, I just want to give you your flowers, John, and just being, a great dad to Liam, and, being able to allow him to go through the emotions and allow him to, grow as a human being, as a young man. Because like you said, things are gonna happen. You're gonna have bad outings. Like you said, they know when they have a bad outing, and to just be that support system. You know what I'm saying? Like I just got to give a salute to you and other dads who are just like you, because it's
Appreciate that.
easy to beat up on your children. It's easy to beat up on them, and without even really realizing the effect, because you think about how it was when we were growing up and everything, and like it was kind of like, all right, man, so get after it, get after it. It's like it wasn't. We're in a different time and day now, to where it's like, all right, it's not going to be rah rah all the time. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to have to be having some compassion. You're going to have to be able to watch your words and everything like that. So yeah, but I'm glad that Liam has that. And do you hear that, Double A? You hear that, Alex? So you see those intangibles. In that family. So check them guys out now. Check them out now.
That's right.
What's interesting, right? My dad was probably the best coach teacher I've ever had. Now we didn't always get along. Oh my God. But one thing I will say about him is one-on-one, he was the best. Now, he was not effusive with praise, right? The best game I ever had, I remember it like it was yesterday, right? I went 4 for 4, 3 doubles, 1 trip. I killed it. I killed it. That was a line drive up the middle, stuck my glove out, caught it, right? Oh, it was a great game. And I made one mistake, right? One mistake during the entire game, right? Now, my dad would never publicly get on it. That's not him. If he was going to communicate, it'd be after, in the car, maybe the next day. He wasn't going to embarrass you. That just wasn't him.
Mm-hmm.
So I walk up to him, right? And I'm thinking he's going to be like, you had a great game. His exact response was, if you'd have just paid attention to the guy at third base, you probably could have got him. Which pissed me. Oh my God, it pissed me off, right? Because I was like, I know you saw me out there. I know you saw me out there. I know you did. I know we were watching the same game, damn it. I didn't say that, but I was thinking it, right? But that was him. But the thing about him is that, to John's point, he's never going to really talk to you after a game, good or bad. He'd probably wait a day and be like, so tell me, what do you think you could have, I did like that about him.
Yeah.
Who was the coach? David Pollock he played for Georgia, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said he didn't want to coach his son. And I think it's probably because he said, look, my role, I just want to be your dad, right?
Yeah.
So I think that, John, you being able to do that speaks volumes about your character, because it's not easy.
No.
Right.
It's not easy, because there are times you may have to have a conversation with them, but it's all about the win. When's the right time? Picking and choosing. You know what I mean? Because what I realized watching my son play baseball, I might want to say something as a coach that needs to be said, but as a dad, I have no business saying it, because ultimately it's going to take away from his growth, and I don't want to do that, right? So a lot of times I find myself oh God, I'm just gonna shut up, Kim. That's my wife, Kim, and because you can't always do that.
Yeah.
There's sometimes things need to be said, but as a dad, it carries. It's damaging.
For sure.
Right. It is.
Because when you say it in the moment, you're thinking coach, they're thinking dad. Oh, my dad doesn't believe in me. And you never want to do that. So guys like yourself, John, who can do that and do that effectively, I salute you, because that's not easy. I've been there, done that. That's
I feel like it's a delegation that you have to really be aware of. I think that's really what it comes down to. Am I right, John? Awareness.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and you have to know your kid, obviously, to what he responds to. It's like like you said, T, if I was yelling at him, like, he's just going to shut down. I mean, he's not going to respond. He's not going to have a conversation, or it's just going to be like, all right, well, you obviously have no idea what you're talking about, so shut up. So I mean, and I've always told him too. I said, dude, I said, dude, if you go out there, no matter if it's baseball or whatever the case may be, academics, whatever, it's like, as long as you've given 100% effort, that's the one thing you can control. Right. We're good. Because things are going to happen that's going to be bad. But if you were out, if you go half-ass something, then we'll have a conversation. You know what I mean? But if you go out there and you got everything and you're giving everything you got, then I can't be mad about that. Sometimes you're going to get hit. So I mean, that's just guys are good hitters, so they may you know, you may be off that day. It may happen, but yeah, that's the mental. And I'm trying to, you know, raise them that way, and then like just to have a tough mentality, like, you know, like not just, you know, you get hit by a ball, like, okay, right, and like he's at one point when he was hitting, he led our team in hit by pitch. Like every game he was getting hit once or twice. I don't know what it was, but it was like they hit him. But he would always just toss his bat and run to first. It was almost like it just pissed him off. And I'm like, good. That's what I want you to be. You know what I mean? I don't care how bad it hurts. Just don't show it to him. Don't show it to him.
Yeah. He had that Ronald Acuna year.
Yeah, basically. He had bruises. I mean, he looked like he was like in a fight every week. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, it's fun to watch them, man. It's fun to watch them develop over the years. Like just how they, you know what I mean? It's wild, but it's fun.
Yeah, they are. All right, we got to do some housekeeping. Carrie says, this has been a great show with so much great info. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Carrie.
It's going to be fine. Hey, Miss Carrie.
Yeah, I think so, too.
You said what?
No, I was saying I think so, too. I was agreeing with Michael.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Agreed. Robert Blackman, the Braves are not trying to spend new money in pitching. They're sure trying to give their own players opportunities to play. Ladarius says baseball is a very cerebral sport for sure. Justin says, who will be the Braves shortstop this year? It's going to be Mr. Orlando Arcia. Good morning, Tiff Brains. Tiff says, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, I'm glad that we brought that up as far as like Justin, thanks for the question, because I do have a question for you guys, just still talking about our Bravos. All right, so who is on the hot seat this year, guys? Who is on the hot seat this
Chris, you there? Did he cut out?
I don't know. Chris, you hear me?
Chris, can you hear me? Give me your thoughts. Who's on the hot seat this year?
Me? Oh,
I'm sorry, Chris. You cut out. Chris. What were you saying?
Oh, my bad. It was the service, man. No, I was saying as far as Orlando Arcia, people talk about his offense, you know what I'm saying, but his defense is second to none. T-Will, we've talked about that. Everything. But you also have guys like Jared Kelenic, you know what I'm saying? Like, is like who is on the hot seat this year?
Yeah, I think Kelenic has to perform for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough spot to make in the outfield that we have, especially now with you adding Profar to the mix. You know, and T-Will talked about it before the show. Like, you know, this is Ozuna's last option year at least, right? So like, he may be a free agent. So there's a possible chance for somebody to step up there. Orlando, yeah, I mean, his bat's frustrating because it seems like if he would not try to hit a 700-foot homer every time, he'd probably be a lot better hitter. And it looked damn good when he does it, but man, it's a lot of strikeouts.
It's a lot,
but his arm is probably saves a couple of outs every game with just how good his arm is. Murphy's got to respond this year. He's got to come back stronger this year than he had last, offensively at least.
Yeah.
For me, and yeah, off the top of my head, that's what I can think of.
Yeah. So for me, hot seat gotta be Ian Anderson.
Yeah.
Gotta be Bryce Elder, because I don't think either one of them have options. So somebody's going home, or somebody's
for sure
not gonna be here, right? So gotta be those two. I need to see, as long as Orlando can continue to defend, I don't think we have somebody that's going to dethrone him, because at the end of the day, at shortstop, center, and catcher, the Braves value defense. They value defense everywhere, but at those premium positions up the middle, they value defense. So I don't think anybody's going to unseat Mr. Arcia. Kelenic has definitely got to get it together. To the extent, because he can be set down, right? So, you know, once Acuna comes back, he could be the odd man out. He could not be. He's a lefty. I think other than, Profar is a switch hitter. So, you know, he could be sitting there. Michael Harris is a lefty. You know, Carrot could definitely be sent down. I think Murphy is okay just because, again, he's a catcher that's up the middle. And all things considered, I'd rather a catcher that could play great defense and contribute to a team 3.5 ERA than a catcher who could hit 50 home runs, but
Yeah.
you're giving up 5 runs a game.
I
Right?
mean, everybody can't be Ivan Rodriguez, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So yeah, for me, now Murphy definitely needs to hit better, but again,
Yeah.
you could argue if you've ever had an oblique and he had a bad one, that's basically an entire year.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
you just
Yeah,
don't get
indeed.
any better. You just don't. So he did. So Michael says Profar does play shortstop. I don't think he's played shortstop in a couple of years. He came up a shortstop. He did. He came
Yeah,
up a
yeah,
shortstop and he
yeah.
did play third base, but he's been relegated pretty much to the outfield. I think the past 2 seasons, he may have played first base a couple times last year. I don't know, but
He's just a versatile player anyway. Profar
right,
is that was why I was so excited about having him,
right,
because my thing is, if somebody goes down, you can possibly put him to be in that position, like shortstop, third base, left field, where he's going to primarily be at. But
Mhm.
it's a player that you want to keep because he can play multiple positions, and he possibly, depending on what happens with like a Kelnick or just other guys, so the depth Arcia, if they want to move on from Arcia, hypothetically, I
yeah,
said they could put Profar there and then put somebody else in left field and still can be able to rock. It's just, do they want to do that? Again, the thing that saves Arcia is his second to none defense, like I said
absolutely,
before.
Mhm.
absolutely.
So if guys are on the hot seat for me, I'm looking at Bryce Elder. I'm looking at Jared Kelnick. I'm saying those two guys are definitely on the hot seat for me. Um, who would be the third guy though? That's because I have a third guy, because I'm going in between guys, because you could make an argument about Arcia. You could about saying just that bat.
Mhm.
Sean Murphy, I don't think he's on the hot seat. I mean, his contract is too large for him to be on the hot seat.
No, he's not us, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You just hope for a better season, that's all. But like you
Right,
That's
said,
right.
that's
it.
that
That's it. That's it. Yeah. So I mean, honestly, man, those are the two names that really just sticks out to me. Kellenick and and Bryce Elder, just because Bryce Elder's been with the team. Kellenick is so many guys. He's going to be having to fight with is it Eli White? I think him and Eli White are going to be fighting for a jockeying for position, because we got Profar now, I believe.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's another thing too. Kellenick, ooh, boy, you got an uphill battle. You got an
I
uphill
think
battle this season.
I think Eli White is probably the odd man out, just because you have Kelnick for the next 4 or 5 years. So even if he sucks this year, you
Mm,
can still work with him, right? And Kelnick still has more of an upside than Eli White does. I think if anybody, it's
mm,
probably Eli White that's on the hot seat, right? I'm not saying Jared Kelnick is going to start the season up here in Atlanta, but Eli White might not either. You know what I
Mhm.
yeah,
mean? Kelnick
yeah,
can play defense. I'll give him that. He's not now. Eli White is better, but Kelnick can play decent defense. So much so that Alex, when talking about him, says if Kelnick played one position, he probably would be a Gold Glover. So
Yeah.
that lets you know
right,
they view Kelnick defensively as very good. Kelnick played center field when we didn't have a center fielder last year. So
Mhm.
yeah,
he is decent defensively. I don't think that you will see Jerickson Profar playing shortstop. I don't. Just because
yeah,
that is a position that given their druthers, the Braves would rather somebody play defense there. Right?
Yeah.
Catcher,
And
shortstop, center, you got to be able to pick it. You got to be able to go and get it. Everything else, maybe you're flexible, but those positions, you got to be able to go and get it, which is why, look, Arcia has a golden arm. Okay. God himself kissed that arm. Okay. When he sent Arcia, that arm is legend. You know who Arcia is? Arcia is Rafael Belliard with a great arm. That's
wow,
and with a little bit of power. That if
Mhm.
you remember Rafael Belliard, was a little bitty
yeah,
guy,
that's the name
played
right there you
a
pulled out.
long time ago in the Braves. Okay. Arcia is Rafael Belliard with a much better arm and with power. There you go.
Yeah.
Because I think Belliard hit like one home run in probably 3 or 4 seasons. So
maybe his career, yeah.
Maybe I was just about to say, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Seasons, his career.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got like
so
3.
that when he hit it, I think the Braves gave a standing ovation. Like, what the hell? You remember
Oh
that?
yeah.
Like,
Oh
what
yeah.
the
I'm
hell
pretty
just
sure.
happened?
Oh no, you got to big him up for that one.
Yeah, man.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Maddox and Smoltz have more career home runs than he does.
I think they did.
I'm telling you.
Hey man, Chicks
I'm
did the long
telling
ball.
you.
You know, Chicks did the long ball.
Maddox, Smokes, and possibly even Glavin.
Maybe even Glavin. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, I think Smoltzy was a decent hitter.
He was.
He was. Him and Maddox.
Yeah. Now Maddox and Glavin, that's different. But Smoltzy, every now and then you leave one over there, he could go yard. He could definitely go bridge. So yeah, but no, I think if I gotta pick hot seat, I'm gonna go with what you guys said. Essentially, Kelnick definitely on there. Definitely Bryce and Ian. And
I can agree with you.
Maybe Brian Pena, because he doesn't really bring a lot defensively. Now he did have a couple of seasons where he hit 30. Okay, so he can run into one. Okay, he can go, and you know the Braves, they love it. If you can go yard, they love it. So you know, give and take. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and I think we'll know if Profar is even a discussion for the infield. We'll know in spring training if he gets any run there at all, if he gets any practice there, if he gets any games there, then we'll know. Like, okay, clearly they're seeing what he can do. But if he's in the outfield the entire time, then that's not even going to be a conversation.
Yeah,
right. I agree.
All right, I got one last pitcher I want to go through with you guys, and we'll go through the outfielders. But Hurston Waldrop. Now, for me, this is your next closer. For me, I don't know if the Braves are listening, okay, but he profiles as a closer. I don't even see him as a starting pitcher. With that being said, the reason the Braves are so gung-ho on pitchers is because I don't know if you guys have checked what pitchers are making lately.
Oh no, they make
bruh, like
we in the wrong profession.
Clearly, okay. Because if I had it to do all over again, let me tell you something.
I tell you, my kids playing baseball.
As
soon as they come out the room, get ready for baseball, little tiger.
Ready. Yeah, get ready. You know, play games of Braves win.
That's all you're gonna hear.
Right? That's what he's gonna hear.
I made him play Skip Carey just so he can hear a legendary voice.
Right. No, honey, we're not gonna play Mozart. We're gonna play the '92 Braves when they beat the Pirates.
There you go.
We're gonna play that over and over again, right? Then we're gonna play when they won it in '95. The Braves have given you a championship. The Braves have won. Yes, we're gonna play that over and over again.
By default,
those are gonna be his first words, honey. Those are gonna be his first words. No, in all seriousness,
it ain't gonna be Dad, Mama. It's gonna be Braves.
Yeah, something. Yeah. But Hurston profiles to me as a closer. The problem with that is the Braves just are not going to pay somebody going into a contract season in their 30s, right? So if you're a major league pitcher and you're great, but you're turning 30, the Braves aren't going to pay you 8, 9, 10 years, because 9 times out of 10, the last 4 or 5 years of that contract, you're not going to be worth it. And the Braves will spend money, right? There is a notion out there, or a perception that they're cheap. It's not that they're cheap. They just want value, right? And, you know, I'm not going to crack that joke, but
yeah, I was about that. He will.
Crack that joke.
He will.
Right. They just want value, right? And I'm going to leave it there, that they want value. So with that being said, guys, give me your thoughts on Hurston Waldrop. Do you think he starts a couple of games for us this season? Do you think he is toiling the majority of the year in the minors like John? Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, his stuff is ridiculous. So like he's got, if he has that in him to be a closer, yeah, I think he could do that. I think he did a little bit of everything at Florida. I think he definitely started. But yeah, I just knowing the depth of our pitching rotation, yeah, I could see him coming up and starting a game or two. Give him a run, because hell, he could catch lightning in a bottle, just kind of like some of our younger guys have in the previous years, and and he'd be that guy. But I wouldn't be surprised either way. You know, I can see him spending an entire year in AAA. In fact, I mean, that may be the best case scenario. That may mean that we're really healthy in our club.
Good point. You have a good point.
But because I don't think development's never extra development's never a bad thing. You know, unless he's just lights out, then he's forcing the Braves' hand to bring him up. Then nobody's gonna argue about that either.
Nope.
And then I think they'll just they'll figure out a role for him when that. I think that's kind of like when we cross that bridge when we come to it type of thing. Like, yeah, okay, we'll see how he does, and then now we'll see where he fits, and then go from there.
Okay.
Yeah, excellent explanation. I'm kind of like similar. I believe the same thing to what I was saying about Sharver, same thing I was saying about Grant Holmes. I think guys are going to get opportunities. I think this is going to be the year of opportunity for the Atlanta Braves to see what do they have, what do we need to go after the following season. You know what I'm saying? Who can we keep because they had a good season, they had a good showing, potential, all those things. Know that the Braves like to promote from within. So I'm thinking like this season is going to be a season to where guys are going to get opportunities.
Yeah.
Even Hurston. I think Hurston gets an opportunity maybe once, maybe twice he gets called up. Of course, you don't want it to be injury related. I want it to be more so. Let's just see what you got.
Right.
You know, let's see. Yeah. That's what I want it to be. And it's a long season, guys. You know, baseball
really
is a long season.
Oh, yeah,
So
162 games.
So that's what I'm saying. I think it's going to be some room, sometime to where like you don't had a guy that you maybe has been running them into the ground a little bit. You want to give a little release. Hey, let's bring Hurston up, see what he got.
Mm-hmm.
So so I think this is going to be the year of opportunity. And you look around, you look at our roster. We got similar guys here. I mean, talking about the pitching in particular, we got similar guys here, yeah. But a lot of guys that we look at are kind of like iffy, unproven. You kind of don't want to put them in a bad situation, stuff like that. So I think this is going to be the year of opportunity so we can see who we can keep and what do we need to address next offseason when the taxes and everything restart, for the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. 100%. I just hope if we are under the threshold this year that we really go out and spend some money next year, right? I'd love to see that. Wow, because you've got your core here. So when you talk about going out and spend money, you're really talking about going out and getting one pitcher and one lights out reliever, maybe two. Because everybody else is here. Everybody that you need, your core players in the field are here. You've got that. You've built this team. And they're going to be here for at least the next 3 years.
Yeah, right? You got to take advantage of it.
You got it. That's what I'm saying. You got to take advantage of it, right? What good is it to have this team if you cannot do that? And look at the Dodgers bought the world. Okay. They literally bought the world.
What?
The Dodgers signed the Lakers while you guys were sleeping. They signed the Lakers last.
I believe it.
Like I was wondering if they changed the rules. Like, could there be 12 position players now in the field, or like how many guys can you?
Jeez, man.
I mean, how deep a rotation are you going to have? Like 8, 9 guys? You going to do
the Dodgers going to have players on load management,
bro. Yeah. Seriously, wow. You joke, but. They got 2 guys, Dustin May, and was it Gonderson? What's his name?
Gonsolin.
They got
cat guy.
Yeah.
They both throw 100 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know that they start next year. Right? Like it's ridiculous.
The Dodgers have so many people that if they want to, they could just trade people and gain assets just for the heck of it.
Yeah,
bro, they got so many people. They could have a Dodgers East and a Dodgers West.
Yeah,
like that's how
damn near 2 teams. Bro,
yeah, anyway. It depresses me, but the point is, the Braves are right there, right? If all of our guys come back, and let's get into it because this is a Braves podcast, and we need to get into it. For those of you who look at the Braves last year and say they're finished, nothing could be farther from the truth. Braves had a lot going on last year. Okay, number one, And I don't think that the point was made enough of this. And you know what? Why am I the center? So let's get some other folks in here.
Yeah, you don't like that, do you, T. Will? That front street don't feel too good after a while.
No, this looks like it's my show now, so this is not good.
That's why T. Will had did me like that last week. I said, "Hey, T. Will, I'm up here on the big screen too long, but the rest of y'all come on in."
I've had enough of looking at my face. Come on, man. All right, so what the hell was I saying? Jesus, now I really forgot my line of thought. Jesus,
about last season.
Last season, and pretty much how we made the playoffs, and we had no business.
Right. Well, so number one, half our lineup was injured. Literally, half our lineup was injured, and they missed a lot of time. Number two, and I don't think people place the relevance on this, is we lost something that you cannot readily get back. And that is that guy in that locker room that puts foot to ass that says enough. And I am talking about Ron Washington. Okay. For those of you who do not know Ron Washington was the third base coach of the Braves from 2018 up until last year. And Ron Washington had a relationship where he was like dad to a lot of these guys. Not dad, but definite big brother. Definite, hey, man, get your shit together. What are you doing?
He was that old school dad. He was our dads, basically.
Yes. Ron Washington is a very gregarious personality, very charismatic. So he had a way of saying something that while it cut to the chase, you took it because of the relationship that you had with the man. He basically raised all of our infield from pups. He basically raised Acuna from pups, right? So I say that to say, when Ron left, if you're Matt Tuciopo, if you're him, you can't run up to Ronald Acuna and say, "Hey, man, get your shit together." Or you better not. You're gonna learn real quickly. You can't do that. You don't have that rapport with him, and if you don't have that in the locker room, there's a void there. Now, ultimately, nature abhors a vacuum. So I think ultimately that thing will be resolved. But just looking at that last year, you could see there were times where it's just like that guy's not here, right? That's a large part of what was going. That swinging for the fences, and the fact that literally half of our lineup was out for at least greater than 30 games. Okay, so I don't think many other teams not named the Atlanta Braves would have even made the playoffs last year with the injuries that we went through. Okay, now this year, good news. We are better suited for our position players if something happens. Pitching to be determined. But as far as that is concerned, guys, have you ever been on a team where you had that guy that was just, hey, man, get your shit together, and then he leaves and witness the impact? And John, we'll start with you. Have you ever experienced that?
I may you know what, not as in sports, maybe as in the workplace. I mean, like, and that's similar, right?
Right.
But because I mean, I don't think that that's probably not something that got looked at very closely, but yeah, dude, it's huge. I mean, like that's the impact he had on those guys on the infield, especially like every day out there at whatever AM doing drills, and just what the conversations. That's the thing, is the conversations these guys have, the experience, like that matters, man, to those guys. So like that was, I hated to lose. I was happy for Ron, but I hated it because I was like, man, I didn't. I know he wanted one more run at it as a head coach.
Right.
I wouldn't have picked the Angels, but I understand he wanted to run at it. But yeah, I mean, that's hard to replace, man. It's just tough. I mean, I think Tuiasosopo did a fine job.
Yes, he could. Right.
Yes, he could. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to step in and replace that dude. And like you said, the injuries we went through. It's easy to say next man up. Man, there's a reason those guys are starters.
Yeah. Amen.
Hello.
Amen. Chris, your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I had something like that happen back when I was in grade school. I know it was like real young, but we still had like basketball teams and stuff like that there. And there was a coach that in the middle of the season, he transferred to another school, another state, and everything like that. And let's just say in the beginning, we had more wins than losses, and after that, we had nothing but losses
Yeah.
because it was a different voice. And also, I
Yeah.
want to mention Eric Young as well too,
Yes.
who's
Yes.
also
Mhm.
Thank you.
another
Big time.
voice.
Big time.
Who's also another voice who went along with Ron Washington. Like you said, Ron and Eric could both come up to a player and say, "Hey, man, get your stuff together.
Right.
Get it
What's
together."
going on? Right.
And they had that rapport and everything. And it's like, you want to have that similar rapport, but you're coming in, you're trying to fill a void. And he did the best thing that he could. Again, we still got to the playoff. We lost our MVP. We lost our main ace. Because I mean, no disrespect to Max Fried, Spencer Strider had become our main ace.
Yes, he did.
We lost both of those. Just
Yes.
that alone, a team could not make the playoffs. You just lost your MVP and your best guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the Braves, so then they didn't have Austin Riley
And
for a
Ozzy
time
And
period.
Ozzy.
and
And
Sean
I,
Murphy and Sean
Sean Murphy,
Right.
Max Fried.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They all went through something. And we still was able to weather the storm and make the playoffs. I believe, that this team, if they can weather the storm, if they can continue to stay healthy, if we can stay healthy this year, if we can have a good bill of health, man, we're going to surprise a lot of people because the Braves have a core in place. The Braves have a good roster. We just got to stay healthy. And also with the new hitting coach, I believe if the Braves can limit those leaving runners on the bases, we left a lot of runners on the bases last year. If we can cut that just in half alone last year from last year, guys, we gonna do some things.
I think
So
that's
we
going to be a big impact. Yeah.
because we were just so inconsistent with the bats. We left so many runners on base, 2 and 3 guys. You know what I'm saying, per inning almost.
Have y'all seen Chipper
So
talk about hitting these days? And
Yep. Yep.
it's different, man. It's different.
it is.
The way they're teaching, the way they used to teach
Oh
it.
yeah.
It's that's why it's so many. Like you said, that's why there's so many swing and miss and 230 and 240 averages and stuff like that.
Hitting
Yeah,
35 homers. Yeah.
they're
That's
teaching them to
all
come up
about
through.
the launch angle.
Yeah, all coming up through the zone, and your bat's not in the zone very long.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Yeah.
And you
When
look at it, you remember when guys like Michael Harris came up. When he first came up, he was just putting the ball in play.
hmm
Then next thing you know, he turned into like just swinging for the fences, and it just seemed like that's what we just turned into, just a team to just swing for the fences. I understand Matt Olson in his career year that year, and Ronald, what I'm saying, with the home runs and everything like that. But we came into and we always, kind of like go for the long ball as a franchise, just overall.
yeah,
But it just like lately, it's just been like we just been like, hey, gotta go over the fence. It's gotta go over the fence. And I feel like we need to get away from that a little bit for real and just
no,
get back to putting the ball in play. And I think
that's
that's
it.
what the hitting coach gonna do.
Yeah, we need to see guys going opposite field, like whether it's a double, single, whatever,
Right.
like staying in the zone, hitting, just getting hits, putting the ball in play. That's, I mean,
Man, that's what I used to love about Chipper Jones, man. He would go oppo
all the time, man.
so often, bro. And it just like it really was underrated, man. And I
Yeah,
don't think people really appreciated how how much skill you have to do to really just be able to put the ball into the opposite part of the
Yeah.
field on a
300 from
consistent basis.
300
Yeah.
from both sides is crazy. Yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean that broke. Chipper is one of one. Chipper
Mhm.
is definitely one of one. It's interesting. We're talking about these great Braves teams. And I think a lot of times the Braves get, unfortunately, a bad rap. And I say that because, baseball truly is a game of inches, right? You could make the argument that the Braves of the 90s should have won at least two,
Oh,
potentially three,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
Because if we go back to Minnesota, and this hurts me to do, but God damn it, Ronnie Gant was on base, Urbeck, you bastard.
Oh,
And you
it's
know
so
you
obvious.
pulled him off.
If you have eyes, you can see he pulled him
You
off.
know you pulled him off, you bastard. You know you did it. And not that I'm still upset about it 30 plus years later.
Yeah, me either.
But Urbeck,
Yeah.
you bastard, you know what you did.
Mhm.
Secondly, if Lonnie Smith doesn't get deked, oh my God, the game's over. We win the World Series. We should have won that.
And I wouldn't have thrown Charlie Lee Brandt.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do
Anyway,
that. Yeah, and then
Charlie Lee
Mark,
Brown versus Kirby Puckett. Come on now, damn it! Like
come on, man.
nobody in the world
Come
thought that
on,
was a
man.
good idea.
Come on.
I'm not doing that.
And then
Uh,
Mark Wohlers, why do you throw Jim Labrus a split
Mark.
finger pitch when the bases are loaded? All you gotta do is throw your fastball, which it was your best pitch. Why throw him a split finger pitch in that count? Jesus, we never
hey,
came back.
You know what? And Mark Waller's never recovered either.
He did
no,
not.
dude.
He did not. He did not. I did, but I say it to say those Braves teams were so good. And it's unfortunate that a lot of times, especially in today's society, we deem success and or failure by ultimately who won the championship, because those Braves teams were great. That 91 team, if you weren't here prior to 91, you're not going to understand what it meant to us as fans. You're just not. Because the Braves had sucked for decades. And I mean decades. Okay. They had made one or two playoff appearances, but for the most part, sucktology at its finest. Okay. They toiled in squalor. They were just awful. They were navel led. And then along comes Bobby Cox and these cast of starters. And they went from worst the previous year to first. And then they went storming into the World Series. They went up to Minnesota, up 3-2. And I fell in love with the Braves all over again, man. And I don't know that that's everybody's story, but it's just unfortunate that out of all of that came one World Series, because a lot of the negative cohorts, when they look at it, well, you should have won more. You 14 division championships. And let me tell you something. It is not easy to win 14 division championships in a row. A lot of things have to go your way, and you have to play really darn well. And you got to have really good pitching for a really long time, right? So we'd be remiss if we didn't give Bobby Cox his flowers, give Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, Greg Maddux their flowers, because they were a great team for a long time, man. And it's just unfortunate. John, Chris, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Dude, yeah. I mean, you preaching to the choir, man. Like I think that 96 team was better than the 95 team.
They were.
And I think that was, that World Series.
That was the year we had Denny Nagel. Did we have Denny Nagel in 96?
Yeah. That World Series, that one just killed me. Like killed me. That was 28-3 before 28-3. You know what I'm saying? Like that's but
took two games from them in New York. Andrew Jones
in New York.
And 2 home runs.
Yep.
Yes.
2. Oh God, I'll never forget that. Oh man.
I still remember when he was just playing around. I remember he threw the ball out of the stadium.
Man.
Oh yeah. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. I was more so of a younger pup when it comes to that 96 team. So I do remember, but you know what I remember more than anything? I remember the fact that we won the World Series the year before. I remember, you know what I'm saying, we did that in New York, and I was just like, oh, we're gonna win the World Series again. You know, so I'm a kid. I'm just like, yeah, man, we finna go back to back, my team. And when we didn't win the World Series, bro, I cried.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you, I was hurt. I said, bro, we lost to the who? And I ain't gonna lie to you, that day, the New York Yankees gained a forever enemy, and they won forever.
Amen.
Amen to that. It just like that World Series is the reason why I don't like the Yankees to this day.
Yeah.
And I know I need to let that go, but I'm not gonna let it go.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
You don't have to. No, you don't have to.
No, you don't. You don't have to. Don't ever feel that way.
And I think a lot of the fandom, especially the young people the young folks that, or even they grew up during that 14-year run, kind of just got used to it. It's like, oh, well, this is we're just gonna it's like no, this is not normal. Like this doesn't just happen.
Correct.
Like this is, like you said, so many the pitchers have to stay healthy, and those 3 guys that you mentioned stayed healthy for the majority of that time. You know what I mean? So it's like, You don't see that today either. Like you don't see those
and
were,
kept their stuff. Like they didn't
right.
lose anything.
We had a legitimate people say it and sometimes and it's not really true. We had a legitimate 3 number ones, you know, that were on any staff, you know.
Right.
So it's like you just kind of get used to that. It's like, and then the early 2000s when we kind of fell off, it was like some folks would, just jump ship, whatever. I'm like, dude, like that's not how this works. Not how this game works. It's ups and downs, it's ebbs and flows, cyclical. Like you got to draft well, you got to develop well. If you don't draft well, you better go out and purchase some guys, like which is the Yankees have done for years. Like they've never really drafted that great, but they'll go out and buy guys. The same thing with the Dodgers. So I mean, we've always been that draft development type team. That's all. That's just been our, even before Liberty Media and before like all that stuff. Like that was just our thing. I mean, we now in the mid '90s we would the Fred McGriff trade was massive. Like that was just like, okay, we're really going for this thing when we went after him. And I think that's by the way, underrated as hell. I know he finally made it to the Hall of Fame, but dude, that guy was so underrated. Anyway, Chris.
Andrew
real quick, I just don't understand how in the world like the man was able to swing the way he was and be so effective.
All right,
like
one arm,
like no one like that helicopter swing is just like who else can do that outside of Fred McGriff?
Nobody. That's the thing about baseball, right? Because let me tell you something. A left-handed power swing is probably one of the most beautiful things you'll see in the world. Like Ken Griffey's swing is beautiful. I mean, I hear it when I see
my
it.
entire childhood.
You know what I mean? I tell you what, though, man, I really think the Yankees ushered in the end of the starting pitcher era because they were the first teams that began to stack their bullpen or stack their relievers like from the bat going forward. And, with the Yankees, if you didn't have that lead by the sixth, it was over. And that I really feel like that ushered in the era of, okay, well, you don't really have to go 7 or 8 innings anymore. You can go 5 and dive. And then we got this bullpen and we'll get you through to the ninth. And I think ultimately that's because if not for that, if the Braves had adapted to that, they probably could have gone 20 years. You know what I mean? Which is ridiculous as it sounds. At least 16, 17. Yeah. But the Braves, they were so focused on starting pitchers, which you had 3 number ones. But to me, they were a little hesitant in building from the back end. And
can you imagine like trying to tell those guys like Maddox would have been like cussing you off the mound, like you're taking me out after 5, like
what?
6? Have you seen the scoreboard? Like
what?
No, get the hell off my mound! Like
I'm wrong with you, right.
Those older guys, man, they didn't want that was seen as a failure if they didn't go 8, 9 innings, basically.
Oh no, there'd be some cussing going on.
Oh,
they would not. There'd be some cussing going on. That's insane, man. Well, guys, I tell you what, this has really been fun. We are at the 2-hour mark. John, please, look, anytime you want to come back, man, please know that
let's do it.
You are welcome to do it because we love the Braves here. We're willing to talk Braves anytime, Falcons, Hawks, whatever you want to talk. But look, I've probably been watching the Braves for the better part of 48 years, man. So. Chris loves the Braves. I love the Braves. I hate Debo couldn't make it, but I think he had Debo loves the Braves. So we talk Braves here. So anytime you want to get your Braves fix in, you are welcome, man. You are welcome.
I appreciate that, man.
And although it doesn't need to be said, dude, we miss you. We miss you.
Oh, yeah. You and Mike, man.
Let me tell you something. You guys have created you've created your own space, man. And I just look it. I told the story. I'll tell it again. I will never forget you guys as long as I live because you guys were there for me at a time where I was at my lowest, right? And to those of you who don't know, my mom passed May 16th of 2024. So the first day I discovered your show, actually.
That's a hell of a day to discover it. My God.
Yeah, man. Because
Jack
had been telling me about you guys. He was like, "You got to check it." I was like, "All right, fine." So I get the news that my mom probably doesn't have that long. I'm about to play some phone calls and upset some folks, and I'm just, I'm upset about it. And I turn on your show, and you're talking about. I swear to God, I will never forget this. I take a swig of some red Faygo pop. I remember it like it was yesterday. This is water, but it'll be my prop. And you say to Mike, what's up with you? Why are you something like that? And Mike says, well, I just had sex and I came on the show and everything in my mouth came out across every window in my car. Like, really, Mike owes me some money. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, everywhere, right? And all of the food that I laughed. I laughed hysterically for about 20 minutes, and I probably needed it, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
From that day forward, man, I will forever love you guys. And I think I speak for every fan out there. Man, we miss you. I'm just gonna be honest. We miss you. So I ain't nobody, but I hope that at least on some level, you guys come back. Maybe not every week. Look, I do this every week. I know what the commitment is. But the world is truly a better place with you guys out there in it, doing your podcasting thing, man. And I'd be remiss if I didn't point that. I'm not trying to put pressure on you, but I just want you to know we miss you. You got a home here. And brother, anytime you want to come and get whatever sports you want to talk about, you are welcome.
That means the world, dude. Yeah. Yeah, that's I mean, we said it in our last show. It's like, which by the way, thank y'all for coming by on our last show. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was
Oh no, it had to.
That was insane. That was 4 hours. It was it was insane. I
felt like it was the Oscars.
Right, it was so weird. That was so weird. And I told Mike before the show, I was like, I didn't know what to expect, and I was just kind of like, I've invited I invited folks, but you don't expect everybody to show up. Like I thought, like you send out stuff, and it's like, and I told him, I was like, hey, you probably gonna have to host because I'm gonna be doing with the backstage and text and whatever, the chat, whatnot. And he was like, I got it. And dude, he like just that was his Michael Jordan game right there. Like that was his flip. Like he just like. I was like, dude, where has this hosting ability been like the entire time we've done this show that you've made me do it?
You said I always had it. I just been chilling, Johnny Yates. You just do such a great job.
That was it. That was it. But man, he like just blacked out and had just did an amazing job with everybody. And then, like that's what I said when everybody was gone and we were finishing the show, I was like, all right, I guess I'll talk now because like I just felt like I hadn't really even said anything because like he'd just been killing it, and it was. But no, dude, we had such a good time with it. And like I said, the hope is that we are able to come back. Just his schedule is crazy right now. Mine is batshit nuts with the kid right now and just everything going on and work and whatnot. But and to you, dude, I got to give you your props. Amazing job hosting all the shows that you do, man. Like I love it. Like whenever I can catch you live, I make sure to catch you live. And Chris, I love you to death. And it's same with you guys. But I mean,
yes, sir.
Just jumping on it, man, and like starting with Jack and then jumping off and doing your own thing, like it's not easy, man. I know the time it takes to put into it. I know the behind the scenes stuff. I know it's it's not just turn on the camera and start talking. Like it's not that easy. So like that's major props to you, dude. I enjoy watching it, and like I said, I appreciate you inviting me on, and then and yeah, Mike will definitely come on and talk Falcons. He will like nothing else, like Falcons. Strippers, something like that. We
anytime Mike wants to come on, I love it, man. Hey, and I want to have you guys on, right? But
yeah, for sure.
The one thing I will say to you, John, is that your peers will tell you everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that you heard what your peers said because we love you, and I don't say that because I'm trying to gas you up. We really appreciate the content that you brought forth because. Yeah, it was jokes, but it was a lot of seriousness, but it was the perfect blend. And at the end of the day, man, as podcasters, we're just trying to reach people and make your day better. You know what I mean? Agree with us or not, fine. But we're just trying to make that connection. And that is one thing I hope at least by the turnout of that last show that you succeeded at, man. You definitely made an impact. And
100%. That definitely, that was. I had no words, man. I still don't. I still had no words after that show. I was just blown away. But but I told Mike, I said, dude, if love and everything was that was over, then that's a success for us, man. Like, cause that's what we wanted. We wanted to have fun with it. And we had no idea where it was going to go when we started. And it just morphed into what you guys saw, So it was just like, man. So yeah, it's just, like I said, it was just bad timing with everything going on in our lives at the moment. So it was just kind of like, man, like, we didn't want to, I said it on the show, but we didn't want to like bring a half-assed product. We didn't want to be coming in like, and just we didn't want to hurt the show just based on
Right.
us not having enough time to do it. So,
Right.
but I told it on the show when you said it too, that show you talked about, like y'all, like, and I said this on the show, but yeah, Mike was literally putting his shirt on, like as I hit go live. As I hit go live, he's putting on his shirt, like no shit. And I thought he just I thought he was coming from the gym. I thought it was something like, you know what I mean? Like maybe he just got home from work and he wanted to change. I didn't know, but I was like, he's sweating a little bit. Like, why are you sweating? So like, yeah, it was hilarious. Like it
Mike is a wild dude, man. That like, bro,
one of a kind. One of a kind.
Let me tell you something. Of the million things he could have said, I did not, and I'm so glad he said it.
I'm gonna tell you the truth.
I swear to God, I laughed for about 20 straight minutes, man. I could not stop laughing. I couldn't. And I think at that moment, I really needed that. Sometimes life is so heavy. You just need a win. You just need something. And that was it for me, man. And like I say, bro, anytime you want to talk Braves, let me. It don't matter what day it is, bro. I will get the crew together. We'll do it. It does not matter. I'm really looking forward to this season, guys. Maybe in the next couple of weeks before spring training ends, we can get together and maybe have our predictions. Where we ultimately think the Braves are going to go or what they're going to do. We still got some moves that we can make, so we'll see. Yeah. But hey, to everyone in the chat, thank you for joining us.
I gotta say, shout out to Millie, man. Millie, what's up, buddy? I know you came through there.
Millie, what's up, man? How goes it? Yeah. So again, shout out to everybody in the chat. John, I mean, I know you still don't regularly podcast, but you want to tell these folks where they can find you still?
Yeah, man. I mean, y'all still welcome to subscribe, to Out of Your Falcon Mind. Like I said, we left it open for a reason. So like hopefully we'll be able to chance to come back. So, if you're already subscribed, then don't leave, don't run away. Because we're still we're broadcasting this through the channel. So anytime I come back on with T-Will, we're gonna do the same thing. So if y'all are watching it from our channel, make sure y'all go to For My ATL Sports and subscribe to T-Will, subscribe to A1. Fantastic content, Falcons, Hawks, anything Atlanta, man. Yeah, they cover it. So make sure y'all have they got you covered for a while. But you can still, I'm not as active on the Twitter account, but I still got it for to interact when everything's happens. Out of Your Falcon Mind still there. And then if you want to follow Mike does our Instagram and TikTok, and a lot of times our TikTok has nothing to do with the Falcons, but it's just Mike being a dumbass, which is hilarious. So y'all can go follow him doing that.
Check it out.
Yeah. So follow Out of Your Falcon Mind on TikTok, and then I started basically because I told you too, like all my whole background is exercise science, right? So I kind of and Mike's been after me for years to just basically do like a dedicated fitness kind of like account essentially. So so I was like, fine. So I finally did it. So like on TikTok and Instagram, it's Whiskey Fit Life, right? So it's just
Whiskey Fit Life.
Yep. So if you want to follow me there, man, it's just I'm trying to do like I want to do daily. I said that, and then I got the flu, and then that didn't happen, and now, but I'm better now. So like trying to give just good, just everyday fitness advice or health, wellness, you name it, type of thing. There'll be some random other stuff in there too, music probably involved in it. But yeah, you're welcome to follow me there if you want to keep up with things there too. So. And man, T-Will, and thank y'all for having me. And I will definitely be back, man. I appreciate that. That was
for sure. Look, I'm just excited that we can make it happen because we have been talking about doing it for so long, man. So you don't have to thank me. I thank you because this has been a treat. I've enjoyed it. And hey, man, like I say, one for the books, and the only way we can top it is to just come back and do it again. So we got to do that.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, A1, tell these folks where they can find you. Yeah, right. Like they don't know. Tell these folks where they can find you, A1.
Hey, man, A1 Forever Sports, come on over. That's the platform on YouTube. Come on over, have a sports conversation. Braves, Hawks, Falcons. Still growing that channel, even though I'm doing other things behind the scenes and in front of the camera on other platforms and everything. Because you can also catch me at the Hawks Digest as well. Just type it in on YouTube, man. It's a platform just dedicated solely to the Atlanta Hawks. Me and Walter Pollard, we're over there growing that channel right now, getting close to 1,000 subs, man. So yeah, man. So grateful for that. Shoot, man, what else? Just got a few things working on in the background as well. I know me and Smitty plan on doing some more shows. It's just you know how it is when you get busy, man. And you just doing different things. It just get hard, you know. Then you still got to work.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Then there's that, you know. So
yeah, there's that. So it's just like working on trying to get what I'm saying, bills to be paid by sports. You know what I'm saying, but that's always a process, and of course, other people got to say yes, and to the other ideas and everything. But yeah, definitely working in the background on some more things. And you know what I'm saying? I would say TikTok. Well, I mean, my TikTok is still active, even though I don't have TikTok right now. Yeah, I was one of them people that deleted TikTok a long time ago and all that stuff like that. Even though I knew better, I just did it anyway. So I guess when the new TikTok, if there ever comes out or something like that, I guess I'll be able to start posting again on there then. But that's the real excuse me, not that's the real A1 forever on TikTok. It's also A1 Forever on Twitter and Instagram, man. I say come on over, like, comment, subscribe. It's content everywhere that I got. So just, to come be a part of it.
Amen.
yep.
Amen. Well, I'm sorry that happened with your TikTok, man. That's
Hey, man, it's all good. It's all good, man. I'm not tripping. At the end of the day, what I'm saying, I might have lost my TikTok, but hey, I was able to do a Brave show with T. Will and John from Out of Your Falcon Mind, so I'll take that as a nice constellation.
There you go.
Hey man. Plus you can still log into your TikTok on your computer, and hey man, you out here doing big things anyway.
Yeah,
Congratulations on
they
what you
won't.
got.
I tried, man. They won't let me post though. I can't post on my phone and I
You
can't
can't post
post
on
on
your computer?
And nah, man, they won't let me do nothing.
That's
Nope.
weird.
Yeah,
Okay, that all right.
they
Yeah, that's
won't let me do nothing. So I'm just like, whatever. It is what it is, man. But like again, man, thank you guys. It's,
oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying, great show. Definitely got to get some more in, man. Definitely got to get some more in. It's gonna
For
be a
sure.
long season, boys, as far as the Braves. So we got plenty of time. Got plenty of games now.
got some time, man. Definitely got to do
No, we
that.
do.
Definitely got to check that out. Hey, to everybody who joined us in this chat, thank you so much. Look, we do this because we obviously love the Braves, Falcons, and Hawks, but we also do this because we obviously love you, because we couldn't do it without you, right? If nobody showed up, what's the point of doing it? So you could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to spend this morning with us. From the bottom of my hearts, our hearts, we want to thank you, appreciate you, and hey, just look forward to doing more shows with you guys. And thank you so much to everyone in the chat, John and Chris. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. As always, yeah, it is work, but I just feel like there's nothing I'd rather talk about than my Braves, Hawks, and Falcons. I just think it's crazy that we get to sit up here, get in front of these cameras, and just talk about our favorite teams. Like, that's crazy.
I
So,
do. Well, isn't it cool too? Like the community that
yes,
you create once you get into it. Like
yeah,
that's the one thing that we never expected. Like
yes,
creating
Right.
all the relationships and everything.
yes.
Like that was like the coolest unexpected consequence of doing a show without because none of us would ever met.
Right. It's the
Yeah,
best in the world. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Because
100%.
again, you walk away. I know I walk away feeling enriched because I learn stuff from you guys every day. Like every podcast I go on with everybody that I podcast, I like to learn. I like to learn something. It could be the tiniest little thing. I'm a nerd that way. My wife says I'm a nerd. Anyway, whatever. But I learned something from you guys. I learned something from you today about preparations. I just learned, right? So to me, look, life is about growth, man. Life is about growth. I'm 54 years old. I'd like to say I'm different than I was when I was 44. My wife would probably not agree. She'd probably think
Uh,
I'm the same old jabron that I've been, whatever. But look, life is about growth. And that is one of the great things of being in this podcast of business is you meet so many intelligent people doing what you're doing. And you just, iron sharpens iron, man. So I love
100%.
it. But
that's it.
hey, to everybody who joined this show, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. To the Braves, good luck. If you happen to like, share, and subscribe, again, please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to Out of Your Falcon Mind. Of course, A1 Forever Sports and Hawks Digest and every other 38 things that Chris is doing. He's out there. He's a man of the people. Chris is out here doing his thing.
Hey, man,
You know,
trying to leave my mark. That's all,
Hey
man.
man,
There it
hey,
is.
that's all we can do, right? Of course, I'm a member of One Time for the Fan. Shout out to Mr. Jack Spade, Miss Carrie, and oh God, Bodie 3000. I was about to call Bodie Debo. I'm so sorry, Bodie. Bodie 3000. Shout out to you. Definitely, hey man, please like, share, subscribe to One Time for the Fan, and please like, share, subscribe to my channel, For My ATL Sports 1 on YouTube, as we need it. And so, you know, put us in the algorithm so we can continue to bring you hopefully great programming. Hopefully it was at least good. Look, we tried. We do the best we can every day. And you know, we'd like to continue to do that. So again, thank you guys. Thank you to my brother Eric Parker and Jack Spade for giving me my start in this business. You guys have an amazing day. Go Braves, go Falcons, go Hawks. John, Chris, I will see you guys. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.
Peace.
Yes, sir.